What up, Leaguers? Welcome to the Spectacular Spoil League. I'm the Pandan Superman, the mayor of Hype City, HazyRome, and as always, I'm joined by the Gotham Knight, the Prime Minister of Post-Production, DeepBoyce. And by this time, this intro is like reflex to me because we are here for DC TV Arrowverse Weekly One shot, everybody. We're talking about all of the DC Comics TV shows from this week. Supergirl, baby. Flash, baby, Black Lightning, baby, and Arrow, baby. We talking about all of them. Listen, this week, I don't know what it is, because last week we sort of had this problem too, DeepBoyce.
Yeah.
I'm not really feeling like I can outright name 5 characters that are like, man, these are my top 5 for my top 5 power rankings, you know? Because we always do that. That's how we start off this weekly one-shots. Top 5 power rankings from me, top 5 power rankings from you. However, it's been a little tough this week. It's been a little tough it was tough last week and now it's tough this week. So me and DeepBoyce combined our minds and our thoughts, and we came up with a top 5 bum asses list. Now, we didn't collaborate on I should say we came up with a top 5 power rankings. For our bum ass list, we ain't need to collaborate on that because we had that on lock. Yeah. So you're gonna hear our bum asses stuff separate. And of course we'll do the ones gotta go. But first, we starting off with a conjoined top 5 power rankings. DeepBoyce, I'm gonna start us off with number 5, man. As I said, everybody, it's been a little tough picking some people, but instead, I have a thing that deserves this top 5 spot this week, and that is the Trickster's acid from the Flash, aka Axe-id, which I think was a terrible name, and I hated that they said that every episode. But the Trickster's acid,
you talking
for
about
one reason,
that Nesquik strawberry milk.
For one reason and one reason only, DeepBoyce, okay? Because that warm tubby custard, okay? That warm tubby custard melted the shite out of some Bebos, and you know I hate Bebo, okay? I hate Bebo, all right? And that's the only reason why that Trickster Axe is getting the top 5 spot on my list, because it got rid of bum-ass Bebo.
I can't believe
Flash,
completely forgot about Bebo.
I can't believe you forgot that.
Rearing his ugly-ass head this week again, and it's officially a thing. We're gonna keep seeing Bebo. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see him over and over, just randomly.
Yeah, it's a joke now.
I think I must have thrown myself down the stairs after that happened, so I can just completely forget Bebo being in that Flash episode. But I totally agree with that number 5. Get Bebo in any and all capacities. Whether he's a Viking god from the past or he's in Central City in the present, get him out of here. They need to take Bebo and lock him up at Fort Ross and throw him into the Phantom Zone.
I'm at this point, I'm absolutely sick of seeing Bebo, and it hasn't been that many times, man. And it's not a running joke, but you know what? The Trickster's acid did its job. It got rid of bum ass Bebo in the nick of time, and I'm happy about that. But DeepBoyce.
Yes. On
to numero 4. We got it at number 4 over here.
Number 4, we've got Vigilante.
Okay.
Over at Arrow.
Yes, sir.
And I was about to say Team Arrow, but that's not entirely wrong because we found out in today's episode, or episode 11, that Vigilante is a triple agent?
Double, triple agent? Double agent.
He's pretending to work for the bad guys in order to try and
he could be a triple agent. Yes. He could be a triple agent because he's not exactly working for Team Arrow.
Yes.
But he's making them think he's working with them. He's definitely going to be working for his own needs. Because he's not out here like, hey guys, what's going on, Team Arrow? Welcome to the Arrow Cave and whatnot. Nah. He's gonna pull it. So I feel like triple crossed is probably gonna be the right way to go.
Yeah, he's on a different level of being a vigilante because the vigilantes are after him. And the bad guys are going to be after him. The police been after him.
Word.
So this is a man alone. This dude Vigilante. And who knows? I mean, maybe he's a quadruple agent, and maybe he's been lying on top of his lying ass. So we think he's a good guy telling the truth. But it turns out, surprise, this is another part of Cayden James' plans. And I'm working for the bad guys, making the good guys think I'm working for them while I'm working for the bad guys. But I'm actually working for the bad guys the whole time.
Surprise, mother sucker. But I mean, Yeah, I mean, the vigilante out here, you know, he's doing some deeds. You know, I mean, we don't really know what his final intention is gonna be, but we know this man can't be up to any good, man. He's out here, as Elijah Colbert in the chat said, he's out here working. Dinah's like, I hate you last week. Oh, you lying son of a bitch. Last week.
She was like Khalees. You so much right now.
And then today, you know, for the episode this week, you know, episode 11 of season 6, she's out here like, he's like, oh, so what now? What next? And she's like this.
Yeah, listen.
I was like, yo, Dinah, you freak. Dang, man, make it hard for the man. Man, y'all was like, come on, Dinah.
She's been holding it down in every single department, but this is her Achilles heel. This is her weakness right here.
Word.
And I don't know. She might be getting played on like 2 different types of levels right now.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, props to Vigilante for doing the right thing, and maybe also props to Vigilante if he's playing us yet again.
Yeah.
We'll see you.
For real.
Doing your thing.
For real, man. I mean, all right. Respect to Vigilante, man. Number 3, we're gonna shift over to another member of, I guess, sort of Team Vigilante. Somebody who's on the other side, the enemies, the villains, you know, of Arrow season 6. And we're gonna name your man Cayden James. And you know what, Cayden James, he's not like a lot of other Arrow villains where he has to beat Oliver Queen physically. This man had Star City like by the balls. He had them in a vice grip. Okay, my man is out here causing all types of, you know, internet havoc and electrocuting people. Killed that dude Pike, who has somehow survived multiple seasons of Arrow while only appearing in like few episodes at a time. You know that? You know what I'm talking about? Like basically one of the top cops in Star City, black dude, bald guy.
Yes.
He's bald.
Yeah.
He may be bald. I don't remember if he's bald or not.
He is. So he's officially dead?
He's dead. From my understanding, he's dead.
I think, yeah. I think Felicity mentioned it, right?
Yeah, he got owned. He got electrocuted, man.
It kind of...
He gave a nice dap to Black Lightning in that elevator.
Yeah, that's kind of a whack way to go out, though.
That was a whack way. Because we had to see it for mad long, and then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, it's that black dude that no one seems to remember the name of, but we know he's a cop for Star City. And then, you know, a bum-ass dude was like, oh, we got to get out of here. On the elevator, he touched the elevator. Everybody in the elevator got because of that one dude.
Jesus. I mean, have you ever been stuck in an elevator before?
Yeah, man. I've been stuck. I mean, I've been like semi-stuck, not really stuck, yeah. Where I'm just like, you know, it comes to a full stop, kind of glitches for a second, and you're like, well, looking around. But other than that, yeah.
Well, that was part of my upbringing because I grew up in the projects, and project elevators always get stuck. I've been in a ton of stuck elevators, and the first thing people always do is they press the wrong button. I mean, it's not technically the wrong button, but I always wonder, why is there this one button that just rings an alarm? Obviously, it's to let people know, hey, we're stuck in the elevator. But all that it does is it freaks everybody out when you press this button and you hear just like this alarm noise that makes it even worse. You're already thinking, oh, this elevator's about to topple, fall down 15 flights, and we're all going to get smushed. But nah, you got to press this button and make everybody else panic. And that's, not only did this guy make everybody else panic because he was getting all claustrophobic, but he set off a chain reaction. Everybody got taken out in the elevator.
That was probably like, that's the worst way to go out because, you know, you're not going out like a hero. You're not going out like, you know, somebody doing the right thing. You went out because somebody else's bummassery. But that being said, Cayden James,
right? He could have been like, all right, cool. He wouldn't have got electrocuted,
right?
But he was like, oh no, stop! Grabbed them, and then somehow all the other 4 people were holding. It was a chain. Some dude was holding his arm, and somebody else was holding the other dude's arm, and then that lady was just like, let me hold his arm too. They all got.
Everybody was just on top of each other for no damn reason. I was like, that teaches y'all something, everybody. Keep your hands to your damn selves when you're in the elevator. Don't touch nobody when you're in the elevator, especially if it stops and it's broken, man. But Cayden James, man, owning up the whole damn city, almost got William in trouble, almost got, you know, William into a situation. I mean, it was definitely on a smaller scale, but it kind of reminded me of what was that movie? I think it was Live Free, Die Hard. Yeah. Was that the name of the movie? Mm-hmm. With it was Bruce Willis. I think it was the 4th Die Hard movie. I think that was the name of it.
Yes.
And that the terrorist the main villain sort of created this crazy hacking issue in the city and like shut things down. I mean, obviously the TV budget show was on a much smaller scale, but I was like, Cayden James is putting in that work, man. He showed up in the office, told the lady like, oh, my name is Ben something. Showed up in Mary Queen's office. By the way, shout outs to the actor who portrays Cayden James, Michael Emerson, who actually played a character named Ben in Lost. So I think that was a little wink, wink, nod at the audience. But I mean, he's out here like, yo, I want $10 million a day. Period.
God damn.
He was like, I want $10 million a day.
Is there like an expiration date?
I don't know, because I don't know. I don't remember if there was an expiration date, but Oliver Queen was like, I would bankrupt the city. And he was like, I'm about to bankrupt the lives in this city. I'm about to bankrupt the livelihood in this city if you don't get to stepping on my bank account, motherfucker. Put some respect on my money.
Could it be a little bit more reasonable here? $10 million a year for 5 years, maybe $10 million a month for 1 year. $10 million a day forever.
He lost his son, man. He's like, yo, I deserve to be compensated, man. That's also an interesting wrinkle there, that he thinks Oliver Queen killed his son when it wasn't really Oliver Queen. Somebody must, because Oliver Queen was in Hub City recruiting Dinah.
Yeah.
So somebody's setting this whole thing up, which is interesting, which makes me wonder, is Cayden James really the main villain? Because somebody had to have orchestrated that.
Maybe it's Richard Dragon.
Maybe it's Vigilante playing both sides, because he was around.
True. I was gonna say Richard Dragon, because he's not doing nothing out here.
True. And Richard Dragon was supposed to be the main villain for this season.
Yeah. And
they sort of described him as like some, or at least that's what they made it seem like. He was supposed to be the main villain. And you're right, Richard Dragon has been nothing, man. He's just been sitting with his tail wagging bars. He hasn't been doing anything. So that's an interesting wrinkle. But anyway, DeepBoyce, on to number 2. Who we got at number 2, man?
Number 2 is the Elongated Man. They have officially named him in the Flash, Elongated Man. Ralph Dibny, the hero that Central City deserves. Because get Barry Allen out of here. My man's being a bum ass. He's been a bum ass this whole season. I'm sorry.
Wow, the disrespect.
This needs to change from the Flash to the Elongated Man. That should be the name of the show from now on.
You're acting ridiculous.
I mean, I'm sure you would. Right? I'm sure you would dig the show a little bit more.
It's supposed to be dib the show a little bit more,
but that doesn't make any sense.
It's Dibny. It's supposed to be a play on Dibny. So he's supposed to say, "I'm sure you would dib the show a little bit more."
But that would leave you even more confused.
Well, you're the one who tried to pick that whack pun. I'm just trying to fix it for you, man. You're the one who picked it. I'm trying to bail you out.
All right, so
I'm trying to help you out.
All right, so dib this. Ralph Dibny.
So
Ralph Dibny's our number 2 choice because my man, again, enormous character growth. We're seeing episode by episode for this character. And again, he's extremely relatable because honestly, as I was watching that, I was like, you know, I would kind of maybe at least think the same thing because does no one in any of these shows ever think to themselves, wait, hold up, I'm doing what? I'm I'm gonna run into and fight who? I mean, he got acid burned him up, and they're like, oh well, the whole you have to go save these people, and this guy's got all these contraptions and all these traps full of acid and all these crazy weapons and hidden all this craziness. And Ralph Dibny is like, yo, I'm out, peace. This is not for me.
Ralph Dibny was scared, man. Understandably so. He was sitting there. He was sitting there with his knee boo-boo. He was like Peter Griffin. He was like, ah.
I mean, admittedly, it looked pretty bad. It did look pretty bad.
It looked like he fell off his bicycle, man. He was going like 15 miles an hour. He fell. You ever have your knee scared or fall off the bicycle? Man, I take acid over that any day.
Left his knee looking like some salmon or something. It looked really bad. But despite that, he put himself on the line, thought of others first to try and save the team. And Harrison Wells, did his thing on the computer just in time. So that the acid was neutralized and it did no damage.
That was a bad name.
That was a very bad name.
Like, it's one thing that the Trickster was like, oh, I call it my acid. Fine. But then everybody else started calling it accident. I was like, don't play into this man's ego. Don't do that to him. No. Don't let him do that. That was a terrible name.
Terrible name.
He says that was a terrible name. Terrible name. But I liked the episode. I liked half of the episode. Okay.
You didn't like the undefeated Goldberg playing as Big Sir in this episode, Hazy? You telling me you weren't marking out?
I actually don't have anything against that, and I thought Bill Goldberg was fine. Like, he wasn't like, sometimes you have like a wrestler come in and he plays a role and it's noticeably bad. I'm looking at you, Cody Rhodes. You were playing. Cody Rhodes was kind of bad, bro. With that dude Samson, that was a little bad. That was a little bad. And Edge as Adam Smasher, like, what was the point? What was your purpose?
That wasn't Edge. That was Adam Copeland. As Adam Smasher.
All right, fine. But I thought the episode was decent, and part of the episode was decent, which is the part that deals with Ralph Dibny sort of figuring out, you know, how to be a hero. That part I liked. Tonally, I thought was good. However, we're going to talk about this later, I'm sure. The other half of the show, where they deal with the actual villains that he needs to take down, I thought that was done poorly, because I understand, like, Ralph Dibny's sort of like a funny character, and, you know, but I don't feel like he needed those villains for this situation.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he could still be himself without being those villains being the adversaries that he was facing.
Yeah,
so I'll leave it at that.
They shouldn't. Yeah, we'll talk about it, but yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
and it kind of also brings up another thing that maybe we should talk about at some point. This whole trial of the Flash. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any good thoughts.
I know it wasn't good. Okay, it was when you go to that cheap bar and you ask for, you know, a drink, and it's got 87 ice cubes in it, and it's super watered down, and you drink it and you're like, damn, this is some Johnny Walker Black Label. Why aren't I tipsy right now? And then you realize that 90% of it is water, okay? Because it was watered down just like that, man. Just like Flashpoint was watered down. It's just Flashpoint is a much more well-known story, so you didn't notice it. You noticed it more with Flashpoint, but you don't notice it as much with the Trial of the Flash.
Yeah, but
the Trial of the Flash is actually pretty cool.
I think a lot of the viewers are probably a little too young when it actually happened. I mean, to be fair, we were, what, like 3 years old? I don't think we were that old either when it actually hit the comic books, but it was a whole year-long storyline.
Right.
With twists and turns, and, you know, like, basically, it's not a storyline that is wrapped up in an episode, which they did last week.
And I think we should probably, you know, at some point we should probably do a video and talk about it sort of a little bit more in depth, because I feel like there's people that probably have questions just listen to it right now. Like, you know, why is it watered down? And it's because, I mean, in short, I'll say this. This was not the Trial of the Flash. This was the Trial of Barry Allen.
Yeah.
And you may think that that's one and the same, but it's not. Because in the Trial of the Flash comic book, it was the Flash who actually did something. It was actually the Flash who did something wrong.
Yeah.
And thus, he was sort of put on trial. But anyway, moving on. Ralph Dibny at number 2. DeepBoyce at numero uno. We got the man with the plan, everybody. Okay? He's trying to save his city, and it ain't the Green Arrow, people. It's Black Lightning. Right? You gotta say it with some warmth, okay? We're talking about Black Lightning, everybody. At number 1, I mean, boys, man, Black Lightning episode 2 has been firing all cylinders. It's only been 2 episodes, but listen, I haven't felt this good about a CW show in a long time. I haven't felt this good about a CW show since, like, The Flash season 1.
Yeah, I'm
because even with Arrow season 5, which was dope, we were like, is this gonna be good?
Yeah,
but this is good.
Yeah, this is I mean, the pilot, you know, we tentatively were kind of saying to ourselves, okay, that wasn't bad. We'll see where this goes. Yeah. But then when episode 2 came on, they were just like, listen, we're committed to the tone of this show. People were getting shot left and right. The stakes were being risen. in a way that you don't even really see in Arrow, which is supposed to be the darkest, quote unquote, Arrowverse show.
Sure.
And honestly, I mean, I'm pretty much interested in most of the major characters and all of the storylines that they set thus far. You know, I'm still kind of wondering, obviously, in terms of, when it comes to the long term, as to what we're getting at here. Sure. Because, you know, obviously, Black Lightning and Tobias Whale are going to face off at some point.
They got to.
They have to. But again, you know, this is, what, 12 episode season? 10 episode season?
Yeah.
And then if it's,
I think it's 13.
13, which I guess
possibly.
I guess it's a decent length, and we'll see what happens next year.
I'm gonna check it out real quick while you're talking.
Yeah, hopefully, you know, maybe they keep it to that length. But I know that CW likes to, you know, there's a lot of money to be made when you double the season. You have a lot of commercials and you get a lot of advertisement money, and that could affect. That affects all of these shows, honestly. Just having such a long season, things kind of just drag on. But they definitely went for the jugular on this one. The jugular.
Yeah, man. I mean, the thing that got me was that, like, they introduced what was her name? Lawanda, I think it was her name. Was that the mother's name?
Lawanda. The name of the episode was Lawanda, the Book of Hope, which I guess I didn't quite understand it, but she was definitely there was a reason why her name was in the episode title.
Yeah, because I mean, and this is something that Black Lightning has done well. I think they've introduced us to characters that we feel are important.
Yeah.
And we feel that they're going to move the story forward somehow. Like Lawanda, yeah, I felt like maybe she was like sort of like maybe, you know, person of the week that's sort of in trouble and Black Lightning has to help. But she got owned, dude. Like Lala popped her in the chest like it was nobody's business, bro.
They didn't cut away from it. It was right up,
like,
and I mean, there was.
I was like I was shocked.
I didn't expect it. I didn't expect him to just do her like that.
Right, because he didn't turn around like, "Yo, back up, or or you're gonna get this work."
Yeah,
like, he wasn't like, "Oh," he didn't give her no warnings. He wasn't like, "Hey, you know, this is gonna go badly for you if you don't calm your ass down." He was like, "What? You touched me? Pop, pop," and just kept it moving. I was like, and you see, like, the way the effects on her chest, like, you could see it looked like she got popped, and I was like, wow. And I think that one thing that Black Lightning has done well is they've introduced us to characters that we care about. We get invested in, even if we don't like the characters. Like, I don't like Lala. Like, Lala is a jerk. I dislike Lala, but we got invested in him because we're like, all right, this is sort of like this main. He's like sort of like the main henchman that we're probably gonna see Black Lightning go head to head with for like what, maybe half a season, right? Nah, he got by the end of the episode. I was like, Mr. Will. I was like, Mr. Will. My man just walked up into a police station and killed this dude, choked him out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's got the politicians and I guess the police department in his pocket.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering if there's someone else behind the scenes pulling the strings. I wonder how, you know, if Tobias Whale will be someone that we'll see in seasons to come. You know, it'll be interesting if, I guess, the way Black Lightning will try and take down Tobias Whale will be something that is, I guess, more akin to real life as opposed to just, you know, how these other Arrowverse shows do. They just, you know, fight each other. He beats him up and then puts him, I don't know, puts him in jail, no due process, or, you know, put him like in that holding area in the Star Labs where they just have all those metahumans there. Nobody asks any questions as to what's going on. Because I would imagine in the real world, it wouldn't play out like that. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't. So, you know, Black Lightning is going to have to, I guess, think of some different methods, especially if, I mean, this could be like a Kingpin type of situation where the Kingpin, I mean, he gets caught, he gets put in jail, but he's right back out. That's a good
example. So that's a really good example of what Tobias Whale feels like.
And
that's a great example.
And it's more than just... and I think it's the other interesting thing about Black Lightning is more than just, oh, let me take out the criminals. He's also a principal, and he's also like, I need to take care of this community. I need to make sure, you know, this community stays safe, or some of these kids stay safe, some of their parents stay safe, so we can cultivate a well-functioning community within this whole mess, all this drug dealing and all this chaos and all this gangbanging and all this corruption. So,
and that's what I think is dope about Black Lightning, and that's to me part of why he's #1, because this man is like how many times with the especially with like the Arrowverse shows, how many times did we see a superhero get into their superhero grind, and then sooner or later we forget that that person has like that double life that they're supposed to be living? The only character who like actively lives his double life, I mean, yes, Mayor Queen does too, but like Barry was probably the only one we actually see him show up and do like CSI things. Like Oliver, we just see him in the mayor's office, saying, we need damage control and all this other stuff. But like, I'm saying like, it's interesting to see him deal with things in a way where he's like, yo, I'm trying to do it this way and also as the superhero. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like and he knows what he's doing. Like that's another thing about Mayor Queen. He doesn't really know what he's doing sometimes. Like he's sort of like, playing it by the seat of his pants or flying at the seat of his pants. But Black Lightning is out here like, yo, I'm really trying to do the right thing as a principal. You know what I'm saying? What he needs to do is talk to that fine-ass black teacher that he worked with, because I'm like, yo.
Well, what about his ex-wife? His ex-wife is like in and out of his life.
I mean, she out here like, you can't be black. It's an addiction. I'm like, it's an addiction to do the right thing. I was like, you got your priorities all messed up. Lala, get this woman too. I'm like, Lala, come in, get this woman, pop.
Yeah, but no,
come on.
You made a good.
You're in the way right now. We need Black Lightning. We don't need Jefferson. We need Black Lightning, woman.
You made a good point that being a principal, being a father comes first, and then him being Black Lightning is sort of added to the good that he feels he needs to do in his life.
Right.
It's almost like the icing on the cake as opposed to the other way around.
Right.
Which I think will be interesting, especially when you see that his daughters will develop powers. I mean, you saw his oldest daughter Nissa did her best Braun Strowman impression and threw that dude like 3 hours across the pharmacy.
Yeah, so my man, he picked up everything he needed for the next week as he flew over like 3 aisles, man. My man picked up all his products, all the stuff. He's like, let me get some shower gel over here. Let me get some crackers over here. Let me get a birthday card for my nephew over here. He picked up everything. She tossed his ass all the way across to the other side of the store. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
And then she was like, she was happy about that. She's like,
and
great.
I'm also wondering who's the stunt coordinator. Is it the same guy, James Bamford, that does Arrow? Because I'm really digging Black Lightning's fighting style in this, or the way they shoot it as well.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Hazy got dropped for like a second. Just give us a second, Hazy. We'll be back momentarily. He just has to join the call. That's a nice little avatar of yours truly, DeepBoyce, in a business suit. That's the person I imagine myself to be. Two-dimensional. Yeah, Black Lightning just took out Hazy. Hold on, let me see. Hopefully it wasn't like a power outage or an internet problem. Maybe it was just a quick thing. A quick G-chat. Listen, I made this years ago, back when I actually had a fully functioning hairline. So yes, you are correct. I just haven't changed it. Took his Lala took his camera away. While Hazy steps away, I'm joined here by a cartoon version of President Obama. Hazy's not talking. That's actually the animation of me talking, but we're joined by cartoon 2D avatar of President Obama. As I find out if everything's right on Hazy's end. Oh, and Hazy's back.
Yo.
Welcome back.
Let me tell y'all something, man. You know how I was talking smack and all that? Yo, Tobias Wells showed up in here, man. He turned that camera on.
Yeah, I think next week.
He told me next week I can't put Black Lightning at #1, man.
Yeah, next week you got to put Tobias Wells at #1.
I'm gonna keep it a black man. Tobias Wells out here. He choked me out. Look, my neck all swollen. Look. My man got me. My jugular feel like it's it's still pulsing, man. He choked me out.
Well, I'm glad everything.
Might as well he's not playing games, man.
I'm glad everything went all right. I'm glad you're.
It's all right for now. He out here waiting outside the door right now. He said once the stream is over, I'm gonna get God too. He told me he told me the next episode is gonna be called La Hazy. He said I'm gonna get popped in the chest. Let me stop, man. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. But we back. Anyway, man, let's move on to the bum asses for this week. Top 3 bum asses, baby. Let's do it up, man. At number 3. All right, I'm gonna start this off, man. At number 3, I've got Ralph Dibny screams over on the Flash, man. Did you hear how this man was screaming? Listen, man, I'm not trying to hate because I know if I got acid tossed on me, I'd probably be screaming too. But this man was hitting notes that I didn't know the human body was capable of hitting, man. my man was out here screaming like he was Chris Cornell. Rest in peace. I was like, damn. I was like, they need to put Ralph Dibny in Earth, Wind, and Fire, man. He was out here hitting these notes. I was like, why is this guy screaming like that? I mean, listen, I understand it's for humorous purposes. It was hilarious, but I was like, damn. I was like, Ralph Dibny, you screaming like a little bum ass right now. I was like, your testiculos just went all up in your throat. I was like, get them back down where they belong, sir. Get them back down where they belong, sir. Anyway, on to number 2, DeepBoyce. What you got? Number 3 for you, I should say.
Yeah. Number 3 for me. I had to look her name up. Most of you guys are not going to know who the heck I'm talking about. You guys are going to forget, just as I'm going to forget as soon as we finish doing this. But it's a character by the name of Erica Morrison from this week's episode of Supergirl. Because she's out here bullying. I looked it up. That's the name of the character. She's out here.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out who that is.
Well, she's bullying Rain's daughter.
Oh, okay.
So Rain's daughter and Alex Danvers, they went over and they were like, yo, Alex is like, I'm an FBI agent or I work for the government. You better chill out. I'm going to put you in prison. I'm going to whoop your ass. I'm going to put you in the Scorpion Death Drop if you keep bullying this young child. And I'm just like, I gotta call that out. Unlike the WWE, when I say, don't be a bully, be a star, I actually mean it. Don't be a bully. Don't be a bully.
That's a corny line, but you gonna hit that line right now?
Be a star. You know what I'm saying?
All right, man.
Don't be like Erica Morrison. Don't be a bully.
Right? I mean, real talk, bullying is bad, y'all. Don't be. And that cyberbullying is the worst. It is corny, man. Corny. She got too. She was like, hey, don't tell my moms. I was like, come on, man. You acting up. You about to get got, man. You're going to be in school and the FBI going to drag you out for cyberbullying, man. That was pretty cool on Alex Danvers' part, though. I ain't going to front. That was dope. Yeah. That was dope. But my number 2 this week, number 2, has to be from Supergirl as well, everybody. And that is your girl Livewire's wig, man. Listen, that wig had a mind of its own, bro. What was going on with her wig, fam? Her head looked like 8 times the size of what it actually was.
I don't even know. I don't know what's going on with costume design over in Supergirl because Brainiac looked like a bum. Livewire was looking like a bum. Every week they got somebody looking like old Play-Doh.
Brainiac looks like old Play-Doh, man. It looks horrible.
It was, I don't know.
Horrible. And this girl Livewire, her hair was out here being sentient. I was like, yo, like Rain. I was like, Rain, I don't need you to kill Livewire. I need you to snatch that wig off her head. That's what I need you to do. She should have shot. She should have heat visioned the wig first, because that looked like the most dangerous thing about Livewire, man. That thing was I mean, it just looked silly, bro. Like I can't take it seriously. That being said,
yeah,
Livewire is sort of a bum ass. She has been, but this episode I thought was actually the best portrayal of Livewire. I'm not sure if she's dead, to be honest with you, but that was probably the best portrayal of Livewire. I don't know why I don't feel like she's dead, but that was a really good portrayal of Livewire. Like, I felt like she wasn't like making all these silly like puns and comments. Like, she was just being a jerk, and she was bringing some little bit of edginess. Which Supergirl, to be honest with you, there's like no edge to that show whatsoever. And I get it. Like, Supergirl's supposed to be hopeful and nice and sunshines and rainbows and all that, but it gets old after a while. And I thought Livewire was actually all right, but that wig, that gotta go. Yeah, gotta go. Get it out. DeepBoyce, number 2. Bum ass of the week.
Number 2 on my list of bum asses for the week is actually Black Lightning's Lala. Again, horrible name. Horrible name, but he got in this episode. I mean, he was going in, shooting people left. I mean, he took out Will. He took out LaWanda.
Took out his cousin. He shot his own cousin in the head. Executed him. Man.
I mean,
I heard.
And let's not forget the beginning of the episode, trying to humiliate Black Lightning in front of everybody.
Word.
I felt a certain type of way about that. But Black Lightning, you know, stood up with some dignity. Again, he's
Jefferson
number 1
Pierce.
on the list. Jefferson Pierce. He's like, don't mistake my patience for weakness. Boy, hit him with a boy at the end. I was like, all right.
Yep.
See how it is? About to whoop that ass. But he didn't even actually he did. He whooped his ass, whooped his penthouse apartment. It was like reminiscent of Charlie Murphy whooping Rick James' ass in that skit. And then topped off by Tobias Well coming in at the jail and choking him to death. Like just crushing his throat. He didn't even like hold them up or press them on the wall. I think he just like squeezed Lala's throat. That's how strong this man is. This man's 2 arms. But this Lala is just I mean, he's got 2 L's in his name, and he took a whole bunch of other ones in these first 2 episodes, and he's number 2 on the bum ass list.
That is 100% fair. Especially, I forgot about him getting his ass kicked in that apartment like that, man. My man was like, Charlie Murphy. My man got kicked, and he was like full X spread, like flew into the wall. I was like, yo, Black Lion threw him like it was nobody's business, man.
Yes.
That's a good pick. That's a solid pick for number 2, man. Well, number 1 for this week, I see a lot of people saying that it's Bebo. It's not Bebo this week, okay? Because I already made a mention of Bebo, okay? I low-key put him as a bum ass because he got owned by that acid, okay? Or the acid or whatever you want to call it. But my number 1 this week is...
It's our shared number 1, actually.
Shared? Oh, yes, we did discuss this. Yeah. So this is our shared number 1. It's Trickster and Prank, all right? The dynamic duo over on The Flash with their villainy. DeepBoyce, perhaps you could say this best in terms of what they need to do with that Trickster. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Trickster was garbage.
I'm sorry. It's just thinking about it just is messing me up. But they could take it, turn it sideways, shine it up real good, and stick it straight back wherever it is that they found it. Because Trickster and Prank, that character.
That's just bring Mark Hamill back.
I was gonna say that's not a good character, and the reason it was good for a couple of reasons. Because 1, Mark Hamill is pretty much great in everything you put him in. So you throw him into this character of Trickster, who's already a knockoff of a knockoff of a knockoff.
And plus, we low-key, that's like the closest we ever going to see to Mark Hamill playing like a live-action Joker for the Batman animated series fans out there.
True.
That's the closest you're ever going to see Mark Hamill as live-action Joker. So I respected his Trickster. And when he was teaming up with his son, that was all right. Because the son was second fiddle.
Yes.
But putting him first?
No. It was not
trash.
Good. Also, when Mark Hamill was doing it, it was a throwback to the original Flash show, which was a nice little Easter egg.
Right.
But if you're not going to have Mark Hamill, then have no Trickster. That's just not a good character. There are thousands of comic book characters, and look, not all comic book characters are created equal. And some of them cannot be redeemed, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
Trickster, Prank, nah, man.
It wasn't good.
The Flash is usually
too heavy,
but this was they laid it on too thick with
right,
this character.
And it took away from the arc that Ralph Dibny. Luckily, like Ralph Dibny is as cool as he is in terms of like the slapstick and the jokiness and sort of like being that corny superhero, because he seems like a big kid who is having the chance to live out his fantasies as being a hero, as being a savior, and the Trickster and his shenanigans, like his silliness, took away from that arc a little bit, and it was hard to take that whole thing seriously because the Trickster was acting so wacky. Now I threw Prank in there just because she was just being weird. Like it was just like I just couldn't take, like I preferred her when she was like the mother that was like, listen, I don't want you to be like your father. Please relax. But then she's like, I'm off my medicine. I'm like, first of all, we talking about some like crazy stereotypes against people with mental illness. So that's the first thing. Like, oh, you don't take your meds, and all of a sudden you go completely off the rocker in like a couple hours. But secondly, to me, it was just way too over the top, way too hammed up. That being said, I see you crazy gaming in the chat. The actress who plays Prank, it's a beautiful woman right there. Game recognized game. Anyway, that's our top 3 bum messages for the week. Now it's time for the one's gotta go, everybody. The episode of the week that has to go, the worst of the worst, the trash of the trash. DeepBoyce, what is your one that's gotta go for this week? Which episode was complete garbage? Which one you couldn't take it? You had to get it out of the week. You couldn't get it over with soon enough. What's the episode for you?
The episode's got to go for me this week. It's actually going to be The Flash.
You know, I'm happy you said that because that's actually my one's got to go this week as well. Because Supergirl finally pulled itself out of the gutter.
They actually did something interesting on Supergirl. I'm shocked.
Yes. It was good. Like, Supergirl was
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Psi being the sort of erudite criminal. I like the way she played off of Livewire. She's sort of like she's kind of vulgar. She's kind of just, says whatever's on the top of her head. Saturn Girl was a little bit of a miss for me. I just feel like she doesn't have enough personality, man.
She's fine.
Like, she's fine. She's beautiful. She's fine. But she's also fine. She's also all right. But I need more from her. But otherwise,
she's very good looking though, Hazy.
Yeah,
she's like incredibly good looking. I mean, I'm sorry.
Listen,
I'm being real. She's really good looking.
I mean, fun fact about her, she actually like stars in some like Bollywood films and whatnot. It's actually kind of interesting.
God bless her.
But I had to look at those for research purposes. But research purposes. But I thought the episode was good. I thought having Supergirl sort of team up with these. I mean, Supergirl's always trying to reform criminals, and I thought that the way they played the whole team having to work together, I thought that was interesting. Mm-hmm. That being said, Psi, the way she appeared in her first appearance, she was actually like crazy. She was like a crazy sociopath. Like, I don't see her like teaming up with Supergirl that quickly and just seemingly being a lot better, than her previous portrayals. Like, she was really, really, really vile. Like, she was like crazy vile in her first appearance. But Flash was bad, dude.
Yeah,
Flash,
I mean, you actually said
it was not good.
You said it earlier when we were talking about Ralph Dibny, that you were digging it for about half of the episode.
Yeah.
But that's... I mean, you can't have half of an episode be good. And the other half, I mean, the titular character, whatever was going on with him, I was like, I'm more interested in just seeing Goldberg, and I'm just like, well, this is different than seeing whatever they're doing with the Flash. And Ralph Dibny, luckily, he's good. I mean, the actor's great, and I guess maybe the writing that they're giving him, but the guy, he's pretty charismatic. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he reminds me of Jim Carrey.
Yeah, but I kind of
reminds me a lot of Jim Carrey.
Kind of toned down in a way that you can watch from week to week. I think being able to watch Jim Carrey from year to year in movies is one thing, but if you saw him like week to week in a TV show, probably a little too much. I think Ralph Dibny, yeah, you're right. He does kind of have that Jim Carrey thing about him. But like you said, it's half of an episode.
Yeah,
half of an episode.
Exactly.
It's like, man, what's going on? I mean, it went from Flash's like, all right, to Flash's, I'm a little worried. With what they're doing with this show. I don't know what's going on. And another one that was kind of close is Arrow this week.
Yeah,
it wasn't bad.
Arrow.
It was a sound episode, but it was boring. I actually find it kind of boring today.
You're not wrong about that. I mean, I don't really know how to. Let me talk about Flash first before we go on to Arrow, because I'm not really sure how to identify that. But with Flash, because I was gonna say something about Arrow, but with Flash, I don't know what it is. I guess it's the fact that the trial seemed over very quickly.
Yeah. And
to a certain extent, because it was just all resolved so quickly, I shouldn't say resolved, but came to a head really quickly and basically threw him in jail. I feel like now it's sort of in a low. It's like, well, now he has to spend time in prison for a little bit. and now it's sort of like oh, he messed with the wrong criminal. Now that criminal wants to beat his ass, and it's like playing into like the prison stereotype a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's not looking good. I mean,
It's dry.
I don't want to call it before it's said and it's over, but yeah, I think this might be a bad season. I think when we come back at the end of the season, this might be a bad season. I mean, the Thinker, that was getting interesting, and now it's like nowhere to be seen. And that was directly tied to the Flash. The Flash has nothing to do. All that it is Villain of the Week starring Ralph Dibny, and that's going to get old at some point. And then you sent me a picture of something that I think it's supposed to happen next week with Iris. I don't know if it's next week. It's gonna happen eventually. It's being filmed right now. Yeah. What is they doing? What is you doing, baby?
Iris is out here wearing a suit, some type of super suit. There was some leaked images of some footage being shot for the Flash. So I don't know the context of it. You know, I don't want to generate like unnecessary hate for no reason. You know, I definitely hit you guys with like a double whammy by saying unnecessary hate for no reason. But you know, first of all, with the Flash, you know, them getting rid of Neil Sandersland, who was playing the Thinker, you know, by him warping to this other guy's body. I don't necessarily think the actor that's playing the Thinker now is a better actor. So I'm already sort of weak on the Thinker plot line. You know, I think that having Barry be in prison, I like Elongated Man. I actually think he's the best thing this season. But I just feel like everyone else is sort of sitting around. Like you see, like, I mean, like I know Cisco's great, but like, I'm like, yo, Barry's out. Okay, I know Elongated Man is trying to do things on his own, but like, you're supposed to be a superhero, my man. Your vibe, get out there, like boots to the ground, my friend. You understand? He was the focus of this week, but like, I just feel like they're sort of like just sitting around and it's sort of in a low. Yeah. Like them calling out Killer Frost for when they need her. I mean, Killer Frost and Vibe got captured. I'm like, I noticed that when Killer Frost was on that video feed, she was sort of like this, like hiding her face. I'm like, yo, Cayden, you out here going out without a mask? Like, I understand your hair color changes, but dude, somebody's gonna figure out that you look exactly the same. And I was like, and the Trickster definitely looked at both of your faces and took Cisco's glasses off so he knows who you are. I was like, this is sloppy. I was like, that's like one thing I don't like with a superhero property or superhero adaptation is when something is extra sloppy. And I just feel like the Flash is sloppy this season. You know, like I still like, no disrespect to Iris, but I still don't buy her. Like, hey, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. It's like, what makes you more capable than anybody else here? Like, I don't buy just because you told me we are the Flash. You told us we're the Flash. Me and you, Barry, on the Flash. I don't buy this. I don't feel that the dynamic is fine. Like Barry's out here in prison. Like, yeah, you know, it's tough out here in prison, but I'm also surprisingly chill about being in prison. I'm like, bro, I need some emotional turmoil from you. I need you to break down, bro. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's just not. It's not great, you know. And
I think once again, themselves in a hole. They bit off more than they can chew, trying to do a character that isn't a speedster, which, you know, I think is a plus in concept. But they're trying to. I guess the character was the villain, the Thinker, was supposed to be cerebral. He was supposed to be thinking 10 steps ahead. Sure. And I don't think the writers for the Flash can think more than 2 steps ahead, if at all. I mean, they're tripping on the steps that they're taking already, and this season has not been cerebral at all. It hasn't been, you know, that detective story that I guess they were maybe setting up. You know, where I mean, I was expecting this to be a little bit more focused on Barry using his brains and his CSI background to maybe try and catch this villain, or you know, to center that around some of the episodes leading up to the ultimate demise of this villain. But I'm pretty sure it's just gonna, I don't know, he's gonna get out somehow. They're gonna figure something out, some sort of Deus Ex Machina, and then Barry's just gonna punch him in the face, and that's it.
For me, I'm just like, you gotta, if you're gonna have all these characters, you're gonna have an ensemble cast, people gotta be given things to do. Like, we made a video a while back. We were like, how to fix Iris. Some people took that offensively. We actually defended the character of Iris to a great extent. My thing is, like, Iris had her own story. Like, Iris had what she was going to do. Like, she was on her journalist track. and it could have been decent. They could have had her sort of be, you know, the person on the streets, the eyes and ears on the streets. Now they've sort of shifted that to Ralph Dibny because he's sort of seen as sort of like this, you know, PI who scraped the bottom of the barrel when it comes to, you know, connections and you know, making connection with scum, you know what I mean? But she could have been that character who sort of you know, is like the Matches Malone type character. If you know, if you're familiar with Batman mythology, where he goes undercover and infiltrates places and gets information. But instead, they just have her sitting in a chair doing nothing, and then worrying over the Flash, and then lecturing people like, "Oh, when I thought I was gonna die, I still, you know, continued. I still pushed on." I was like, Iris, when you thought you were gonna die, what could you do? It's not like you, like this man is talking about, yo, people are threatening my life by shooting acid at me. Like, Iris, like, I understand you saw your future and you thought you were gonna die, but I mean, like, really and truly, if you saw a future where you're gonna die, what could you do? Like, you have to just live your life. Like, this is not the same thing as him running into danger to get shot by acid that can kill him. It's not the same, you know. And I just feel like, you know, Caitlin, like, once again, the Killer Frost character, not fully explained, not given anything really good to do. You know, it's just a little corny. And I'm like, yo, you got a vibe here, and all he does is breach people here and there, breach in, breach out. I'm like, he hasn't evolved as a hero. And I'm just like, yo, you have these huge casts, and I just feel like people aren't living up to their potential. And, you know, please let me know in the comments of the chat if you feel like I'm being irrational or unreasonable, but let me know.
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I also feel the same way about Harrison Wells, who's just like,
I was gonna get to him too, because he's just being snippy with Cisco. I'm like, yo, I wasn't actually a huge fan of HR last season, but at least HR was active in trying to form plans as opposed to, I'm the smart guy in the room and I know everything and I'm going to give you the insight you need for the situation. I'm like, yo, at this point, there's too many smart people in the room.
yeah,
There's too many smart people. Like, someone needs to go. Like, somebody needs to go. I don't know who it is, but somebody needs to get out. Which is why I was like, yo, Iris really shouldn't be on the team. I was like, she has a cool story. Like, she could be the boots on the ground. She could be somebody cool. She could be somebody out there garnering information. And Barry may not like it. Like, yo, you're putting yourself in danger. But she's like, listen, I'm a journalist. This is what I do. Bound. You got a storyline for that too. But nah, I'm going to stick her in the chair and let her be the one delegating all these people all of a sudden when she honestly has the least experience out of all of them leading the team. I understand when Barry was in the Speed Force for like 6 months, whatever, she was there sort of holding it down. But I'm like, we didn't see that. You just told us that.
We only saw that actually during Flashpoint, that Flashpoint reality where it was her and Wally.
Yeah, but
and that was, whatever that was far more interesting than, I guess, this version of Iris leading things.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just get frustrated because I'm like, you know, I appreciate you guys, you know, saying that you guys agree, you know, in the comment section in the chat, because it's not that, you know, some people misinterpret you criticizing these characters as, oh, you hate Iris. Oh, you're hating on this woman character. On the contrary, I'm rooting for her. I want her to be a cool character. I want her to be likable. But I'm like, you got to give her something to do, though. You got to give her something to do other than, oh, Barry, I worry about you so much. It's like, yes, we get that. We get it. it's too much now. You know what I mean? Like, perfect example to contrast that. When you see Felicity talking to William, and I actually thought this was a great scene with Felicity and William this week, where she's sort of walking William through what the Green Arrow was doing as he was fighting. And she's like, yo, I worry, but he's good. And I trust in that. And I was like, that's dope. Because, like, Felicity, you don't see her sitting there like, oh, my God, what's going to happen to you? I'm so worried. She's helping. She's trying to help get the job done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is good. Now, Felicity's not, you know, is not a perfect character. I feel like she gets way more hate than she, you know, full well deserves at this juncture. But I'm like, yo, Iris is out here languishing. The whole Team Flash team is languishing. You know what I'm saying? And lucky for Kid Flash, he's going to get to go to Legends and hopefully not languish over there, even though that show has its own problems.
You said lucky?
Listen, it's better than not doing anything on the Flash. Like, he's not even present.
True.
At least he gets to involve himself with their shenanigans and their hijinks, you know what I mean?
True.
And, you know, it could ultimately contribute to his character growth. Now, just to shift over to Arrow real quick, I don't want to get too into it because we still got to hit people with our ones that's got to stay, even though everyone knows it's Black Lightning at this point. with Arrow, man, Arrow, for the most part, has been really good this season. And the reason is, I was thinking about that, I was watching today's episode, is they, first of all, as I said last week, multiple villains or multiple antagonists have gotten multi-season builds. So Black Siren, this is not her first season. The only character whose first season this is Richard Dragon. You've got Black Lightning, Cayden James, who was sort of plugged last season with the whole Helix storyline. You've got Anatoly. I mean, that guy's been around from the jump. And you've got Vigilante, who was here, you know, the season before, who's here last season. Yeah. So with Arrow, they have so many antagonists set up already that when you fully introduce the fully fledged Cayden James and now Richard Dragon, who, like I said, there's time for him to step up. It doesn't feel like these characters are just coming out of nowhere. Additionally, because there's so many antagonists in play who have already had a proper setup, it doesn't ever feel like there's like a villain of the week. Instead, like the Arrow team is consistently trying to take down the villain. Like that's a problem with the
henchmen.
They got henchmen.
It's a good cop out.
Right, they got henchmen, but they're still part of the central problem. Like the Arrowverse has continually had a problem where they introduce a villain and that villain will disappear for like 4 episodes, 5 episodes. Like Damien Dark was like a great example of that. He would just like, he was great when he was on screen, but he just disappeared for a while. Didn't see him. I mean, Flash sort of did that right now. Like, where was the Thinker this episode? Oh, we're still trying to figure out what the Thinker's up to next. What's his next move? But no Thinker. We're not going to show him this week. We're going to instead show you Big Sir, Big Prison Gang, Elongated Man, and some poisonous Tubby Custard. I'm like, come on, man.
We got to show you Fallout.
Yeah. And so, Fallout with his terrible CG. So, I mean, with Arrow, I'm like, season 6, for the most part, I think has been good because those antagonists get to be in the forefront. You know what I'm saying?
They're interweaving all those small little threads well enough from week to week. And I mean, they're smart enough, like you're saying, they're cycling through all the different elements that they're working with in a way that whatever they're not working with in that particular week doesn't feel too neglected, because they'll kind of pick up on it again when it's necessary. And even as you say that, because I know the one villain or the one character that hasn't been introduced before, that hasn't gotten, we haven't been introduced to previously, is Richard Dragon. And now that leads me to believe, do you think that Richard Dragon will be also a presence in season 7? Like maybe
that's a good question.
Maybe he is the big bad guy, but maybe he doesn't die. Maybe he'll come back.
That's a good question, because that's sort of, I mean, Richard Dragon is a character who sort of can rise up from adversity and develops a bitter hate towards Green Arrow in the comics. And he doesn't necessarily hate the Green Arrow per se. He doesn't hate him. He sees a means to an end with what I guess the criminal empire he's trying to build, but he doesn't hate Green Arrow. So if they gave him a reason to sort of hate him, I think that would be interesting. And I would welcome that, because I think that when they plant the seeds for these villains, and to a certain extent they kind of did that with Damien Dark, just that season had way more problems than just Damien Dark. Well, Damien Dark actually was fine, but the storylines running around him were bad. Yeah. But if they could plant the seeds for Richard Dragon and have him be, the villain for the next season, I wouldn't even mind that. It
would be cool.
But he's just there right now.
It would be cool. I mean, first of all, I think they need to use him correctly, because he's one of, if not the most proficient hand-to-hand combatant in the DC universe, at least on Earth. I mean, he's an absolute beast. He's top 3 at least, right? Yeah. So you can't just like waste that on the show. But it would be kind of cool if they kind of do what they did with Deathstroke in season 2, where it seemed like everything was going to hell, but obviously Oliver finds a way to win at the end. But instead, Richard Dragon, he has everything go to hell, but he's the one that actually wins at the end, and everything does kind of fall apart. The city falls apart. Maybe Oliver loses his position as mayor, and then season 7 is set up in a way where Oliver kind of finds that he has to kind of build from square one and really set up Richard Dragon as that big bad guy who's a formidable threat. Because I'm assuming when we do finally see Richard Dragon in action, at least in my mind, what I would like to see is he would be an absolute beast when he finally gets that moment to shine, and he's, you know, he outclasses everyone else that's in that group with him. He could whoop everybody else's ass by himself, and that would only make sense to me if, again, we see him in the next season, and we also see him victorious at the end of this season, because it would kind of neuter that if all of a sudden, oh, you see him for like, I don't know, the last 2 weeks, he's like, oh, Richard Dragon, he's such a beast, and then Oliver beats him at the end of the season. It's like, oh, come on, what was the point?
Yeah, and also another thing is, like, you know, he's supposed to be like this crazy hand-to-hand combatant. That's another thing about Richard Dragon that sort of makes him so dangerous. So, like, I'm not gonna be okay if he's just like, hey, I run a criminal gang and I have tons of henchmen to throw at you. Like, I want somebody who has a more physical presence, you know, if that's the way they're gonna go. But I mean, I feel like the way it was being discussed, I felt like the way that Richard Dragon was plugged, I thought he was gonna be more important to the overall season. But it's only 11 episodes. It hasn't even reached the halfway point of the season, so it's completely feasible that does happen. So maybe we just have to be patient. Just real quick on Black Lightning, that's our one that's got to stay. I said that already. Dope episode. The way that they're telling these stories, we kind of alluded to it before. It feels like they're painting these characters as being important, and then they're literally like, you know what? Maybe they're not as important as you think, or contrarily, they're saying they are important, and that's why it matters when we take them out of the picture, because it shows that this city is really losing its shit right now. Yeah. Because when we see Lawanda get popped, it was like, yo, the city is taking people out. When we seen Lala get popped, it was like, yo, you talking about one of the baddest dudes out there, and he's just getting owned like it's nothing. Like, that's one thing you could do really well in the shows, if you introduce somebody who's seen as an adversary, and then you introduce the big bad who makes that adversary look like a punk. Yeah. And that's what Tobias Wells doing right now. And Black Lightning sort of accepting his mantle and having him sort of feel like he needs to choose between his family or the city. Compelling. Yeah. Dope stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and shout outs to Riverdale, even though I haven't seen it. But apparently that show, I mean, I've heard people comment that show is, I mean, it's got lots of ratings. A lot of people watch it. And it's kind of up the stakes in terms of, you know, how mature the content is. And I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, the people behind Black Lightning were looking at the success of Riverdale and the content and the tone of it. And they're just like, well, we're going to also make our show a lot like that. And it's definitely paying out in spades, to be honest with you.
Right. And at 13 episodes, I think we have the opportunity to see Black Lightning be a more contained story. Like, if you look at everything DC's been churning out since the Arrowverse started in terms of DC TV versus like Marvel TV, right? Marvel TV, we've seen multiple forms of episode formats, right, for their seasons. We've seen, you know, 20-plus episode seasons. We've seen 13-episode seasons. We've seen 8-episode seasons with Defenders and Agent Carter. We've seen a 10-episode season with Runaways. But with DC, it's always been 20-plus episodes when it comes to DC TV live action, right? Yeah. We haven't seen anything to buck that trend. Black Lightning's 13 episodes. That gives a chance. That gives us a chance to see something contained. Yeah. That gives us a chance to see something sort of streamlined. You know what I mean? We're also going to see that when Titans debuts this year as well on the DC streaming service, but it's a little different. And I think that you know, that's dope. Somebody asked us Tobias Wells black. He's albino black, so yes, he's black.
Yes.
But
Marvel TV is not a bust. That's also important to mention that.
Yeah, Jason Zattel said Marvel TV is a bust.
Agents of Shield is pretty good.
Yeah, Agents of Shield is pretty solid, bro. I wouldn't call it a bust. I've said it before, and we had a video where we talked about some of the problems with Marvel TV. Check that out first of all. Yes. It's part 1 of a series we're gonna be doing. And we actually talk about the length of seasons and that maybe being an issue or possibly being an issue. Just because you don't see that video about DC TV doesn't mean it's not coming. Yeah. Because DC TV has a ton of problems itself, as evidenced by this 1 hour live stream where I just like literally dismantled the Flash, like much to the chagrin of people. I'm sure there's gonna be somebody who's like, "You're not seeing this the way it needs to be seen." Or my favorite, you're racist against Iris. I'm like, really? Like what? Like what? What are you talking about? But for me, I'm looking at these shows. I'm like, each show has its benefits and its drawbacks. I like the Arrowverse. I do.
What if? And I mean, I guess I kind of already answered the question in my head. Basically, the question is, would it be too much if the CW creates a TV slate where each of their shows is cut in length each season, and they add additional shows? So let's say it's 6 shows, but they're all 13 episodes, like the length of Black Lightning.
Here's what I'll say, and I've said this before in the comment section, and I sort of wish this wasn't at the end of the live stream because it's probably going to be a lot of people who don't get to this point in the live stream when they're watching. But I feel like this is an important tidbit. Like, you got to understand that budgets for these networks are a huge thing. So, like, when you split these, if you split your seasons in half, let's say, and you do 2 13-episode seasons, like, you got to remember, like, that staff that has to get paid. And you might say, oh, why not use the same staff? But it's like, well, you got staff that has to get paid, and you have to think about the actors, right? If the actor takes on a 13-episode season, right? Generally speaking, like 20+ episodes is the sort of the standard, right? So if an actor takes on a 13-episode season, after that 13 episodes, they're done, then they might not be able to hop onto another show because other shows are already in full swing. They've already got their cast list down. They're already in full production. They may not be able to hop onto something else. So you're going to have to compensate them for the fact they're only getting 13 episodes and they're not going to be able to hop on to other things because some actors, that's the way it goes. And you also have to think about like costumes, for example, right? Like Mark Guggenheim said, in an interview, I think in December of last year, he said that like roughly each costume that is made for the Arrowverse costs like $5,000. Reportedly, the Atom suit was actually like the most expensive. Supposedly, like the reports on the Atom suit was probably like $189,000, which is I don't know if that's true or not.
I wonder they keep that man outside the suit.
Right. But these suits get ripped, these suits get damaged and stunt work. David Ramsey plays Dilgo. He was talking about how he ripped one of the Green Arrow suits. They're like, yo, dude, that's money. So if you have another 13-episode show, like you're gonna have to pay money for costumes. You're gonna have to pay money for all of that stuff. That stuff adds up. That stuff adds up, man. And I think that ultimately, when you look at these shows, it's not necessarily worth it to do that. Also, to continually think of new properties to run for 13-episode seasons is a lot of work, and you're also gonna have to pay the minds who run these shows. You know what I'm saying? The people who come up with these shows. Because if you're working on a 13-episode show, like Boyce, you're a producer or a writer or whatever, you're working on a 13-episode show, you're worried about that 13-episode show. You're not out here like, yo, I'm ready for the next 13-episode show after you're done with that. You know what I'm saying? You want to be focused on that 13 episodes, and then whatever project you move on to. You're not going to be ready to move right into production on the next one right after that. It's tough work. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying just the standards for TV financially and in terms of time, I don't think they really cater to that. But that's a theory on my front. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't, always kind of forget about the behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and the fact that
it's a lot.
You have to pay for rent and storage of a lot of these things.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things besides money is like ideas.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing 13-episode seasons, you have to think of twice as many ideas as you already do, pretty much. True. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot to ask. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, with DC stuff, that would kind of be dope. I feel like that could be pretty cool, but maybe we'll see something like that on the streaming service. Like I always thought Legend would be great. Legends of Tomorrow would be great if they did something like that. It was like each season was like a different anthology where the Legend team sort of rotates for the most part.
They should. Now, let's say the DC WB or DC streaming service starts up and it's around the same time, whatever shows they have on there around the same time as these shows. Would any of these shows conceivably be bumped out of our weekly one shot? If Titans is just the bee's knees, as we hope it'll be, I mean, are we really going to care to spend time talking about Supergirl?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I know I can't say this with the Arrowverse. they recently confirmed. I think it was a CW president. I think his name is Mark Pedowitz, if I'm not mistaken, or Pedowitz is maybe his last name. I'm not sure his first name.
He needs to change that last name. Jeez.
Wow. He's saying that no more than 4 DC shows are going to be on the Arrowverse at once. So that's why, Legends and Supergirl are sharing that time slot. They're not doing more than 4 superhero shows at once. So that's what I can say about the Arrowverse. When Titans comes out, to be honest with you, it's coming out this year, but there's a good chance that Black Lightning is done when Titans comes out or close to being done. So,
so you think Titans will come out during the summer?
I have no idea when Titans is going to come out, but I feel like we would be seeing, we still haven't seen shots of Starfire. We still haven't seen shots of Raven or Beast Boy. And, it's January right now. I feel like the next time things usually drop or premiere, mid-season. Now, I understand that this is going to be a streaming service. So, at earliest, it's coming out spring.
Yeah.
I'm like, Black Lightning is a 13-episode show, and we only got 2 episodes. I don't know if there's going to be a break for it, but I'm like, Black Lightning is going to end at some point. It's going to end in 11 episodes. I feel like between now and spring, we'll see Black Lightning end. We'll probably see that. I think so, unless they're going to break it down. I don't know what the episode schedule is like for Black Lightning, but I don't think there's going to be much overlap between Black Lightning and Titans personally. We also don't know anything about the DC streaming service. We don't know price. We don't know anything in that regard. We don't know how the episodes are releasing. We haven't seen anything by way of promotion for Titans. If they're coming out with a streaming service, they're not going to just drop it hey, by the way, guys, tomorrow the streaming service is going to drop. They're going to give us a heads up. That's a big deal for them. That's a huge deal for them. Yeah. They've got to talk about, pricing. They've got to talk about things that are going to be offered on it. They got to talk about, they got to test out the stability of the network, of the streaming service. So, it's going to be a lot.
And they got to watch that video that we made months ago about what should be on the CW or DC WB streaming service. What we'd like to see.
Yeah. I mean, we did it. I think we did a video on that, right? We did, right?
We did. Yeah. Talked about old shows, movies, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so you guys should check that out for sure. Hopefully somebody can link that in chat. Maybe AMJ every day. The mods can link that for us in the chat. But I see someone said that somebody was like, Black Lightning's not in the Arrowverse and Titans not in the Arrowverse. Yes, but that's why we've sort of changed the weekly one shot to be called DC TV Arrowverse Weekly One Shot. Yes, Arrowverse is in the name, but we're also talking about DC TV. And let's be fair, the only reason why Black Lightning is not currently in the Arrowverse is because they're testing out and they want to see what it is going to be like. They could always just say, "Oh yeah, by the way, Black Lightning is on Earth 16. Black Lightning is on Earth 30, 39.
Yeah, they got 52 Earths to choose from.
Yeah, it's pretty easy peasy, man. Not a problem at all. So Black Lightning may not cross over, but it's pretty easy to include something in the Arrowverse.
I see Jason. I would say that they're all in the Arrowverse. They are all in the DC TV universe, and all it takes is, we're gonna have someone create a portal, and then we're gonna go meet them. Same thing that they would say. Because DC's already established that they have a multiverse, and that's the way they're thinking of it. And really and truly, it's a funny concept because for some people that appeases them. They're like, oh yeah, it's a multiverse. That's great. But it's really just them saying we're making separate properties that we don't want to guarantee interconnection. So deal with it. That's really what it is. I see Jason Todd is asking, is the Robins in the Titans show Dick Grayson? Well, since you're here, Jason Todd, and you're asking that question, I'm sure you're not. I'm guessing you're not in the show, unfortunately. I hope, if you got Red Hood and Titans, holla at your boy. And when is my man Tim Drake gonna get some love?
I think that is 100% Dick Grayson in Titans.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't think there's any chance that's not Dick Grayson.
That is absolutely
personally. Yeah, that is I'm 99.99999% sure that is Dick Grayson. They've said that already. So unless they pull something out of their butts, it's not gonna be Tim Drake or Jason Todd. Now that being said, his costume does take clear hints from Tim Drake's Robin costume. I will say that.
Some disrespect.
Well, you can't. They're trying to modernize things, man.
True,
You know
I
what I'm
agree.
saying?
But I mean, listen. Tim Drake has got to get his due at some point in time. It's funny. I was watching the new Batman Adventures. It's a bit of a sidetrack, real quick.
This whole live stream at this point is a sidetrack.
It's a sidetrack, and Tim Drake is in the new Batman Adventures, but they gave him the Jason Todd backstory. And that's kind of tight.
Yes. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You got to understand where they were coming from with the new Batman Adventures, right? Which was like it's still grouped under Batman the Animated Series, just they were branding it a different way. But when you look at Batman the Animated Series, it's still grouped under it. It's just there was a design change, cheaper animation budget. But the reason why they went with Tim Drake as the second Robin, and the reason why they sort of merged him with Jason Todd, is because Jason Todd's backstory, or rather his, I'll call it his backstory. Yeah, I'm not gonna call it his origins. I'm gonna call it his backstory because, like, he eventually, because the whole thing with him dying was way too explicit for a children's TV show, so they didn't want to introduce Jason Todd and introduce that whole thing. And at that point in time, like, Red Hood wasn't as popping as he is now.
Yeah.
So like they weren't gonna just introduce Jason Todd like that. You were people thinking, oh, he's gonna die. So they just went with Tim Drake. Yeah. They skipped the whole Jason Todd thing. I think they just wanted to avoid that controversy altogether. They didn't want to have people finding out like, oh, this character, Jason Todd, you know, in the comic books. Because I mean, imagine you're watching this TV show, you go and say, hey, Mom, I want a comic. Your mom picks up a comic, and the comic has Jason Todd dying. Like, or you know, people looking into the character and finding out what happens. Like, Jason Todd gets blown up in an explosion. Like, that's pretty explicit.
He gets crowbarred to death, or to near death by the Joker, and gets left in an explosion. And then he comes back as a superhero with 2 guns. So I mean, again, like you're saying, parents looking at the cover, some dude flipping around, shooting people. Headshots, 360 no scopes. It's like, I don't know if I want my kid reading this. This is not the Batman I grew up with.
Yeah. I mean, the costume, Jason Todd, you know, I agree with you. The costume for Tim Drake looks great in Titans. And, you know, what Boyce is saying about Jason Todd is absolutely true. Like, it's too explicit. So they went with Tim Drake. Now, I don't know, like, them taking Jason Todd's backstory, not really sure why they went that route. But I guess
Batman Adventures.
Yeah. I'm not. I guess. Yeah. Sorry. Just to clarify, I'm not talking about Titans. I'm talking about the new Batman Adventures. I think that maybe they wanted to use Jason Todd, but they weren't allowed to. Possibly. I don't know. But yeah. Bacha asks when the Accelerator Man is coming back to the Flash. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he might be chasing the Hamburglar around, man.
Hopefully soon, so we can have another good laugh and actually enjoy the Flash for once.
Yeah. But, you know, we do need some more. We do need Jason Todd. We do need Tim Drake. But, you know, a lot of people saying, like, we need Jason Todd to get love. We need Tim Drake to get love. But, like, in order to tell those Robin stories, you got to tell Dick Grayson's story first. And you may be like, well, Dick Grayson has had play. He's had the Batman the Animated Series. He's had this. He's had that. But Dick Grayson and the Robins have not gotten respect in the mainstream. Case closed. Like, yeah, they were in, you know, the George Clooney and Val Kilmer Batman movies, but, you know, played by Chris O'Donnell. But those movies are trash. Everybody knows they're not good. Like, I'm sorry, they were not good movies.
They sucked. I mean, it would be great if Titans, a large part of Titans is a Robin show. So you get Dick Grayson getting his due, but part of Dick Grayson's characterization is his relationship with Jason Todd, which is its own thing, and his relationship with Tim Drake, which is his own thing. That would be kind of cool. Right. And obviously there are more Robin type characters, but you know, you don't need to get too crazy. Just the 3 main ones. I would definitely like to see that. Yeah, and like we just haven't seen like Robin to a lot of people is, oh, isn't that Batman's boy sidekick who wears the tights? Like, there's a lot of people who have not put respect on Robin's name. Like the Spectacular Spoiler League, you guys, the Leaguers, we put respect on Robin's name. We put respect on what that mantle means, because we know Nightwing, we know Red Robin, we know Red Hood, we know Damian Wayne. But like a lot of people don't get these characters. Signal. I hate that name so much. And I feel like people are just rolling over and taking that name for Duke Thomas. It's just like, please don't do that. I'm not really happy with what they're doing to their character. But, you know,
I feel like we need to allow the live action portrayals of these characters to come to life. And Dick Grayson, he's gonna be, you know, older. He's gonna be striking out on his own, and they've obviously shown him in the Robin costume, and I think it's a pretty sure bet that he'll grow into becoming Nightwing. Maybe not in the first season, but I think it's pretty safe bet that he will. And inevitably, that paves the path for other Robins. And with the DC movies seemingly not knowing what they're doing, you know, seemingly, I mean, they got a Nightwing movie planned, they've got a Batgirl movie planned, but you know, if I'm Jeff Johns, if I'm all these DC cats, I'm like, listen, TV's moving way faster, and we're willing to put money into the streaming service. Let's start banging out some projects for TV, man. Let's stop holding back on some of these characters. Booster Gold, put them in there. You know, Blue Beetle, put them in there. Those Robins, put them in there. Batgirl, Batwoman. For the love of God, somebody give Batwoman some shine, man. Like, put these characters out there. Like, the DC movies, they're sitting on the Bat family right now. Yeah, they're sitting on these characters because they're like, we don't know what we want to do just yet. So we're just going to sit down on these characters.
And there were some rumors, I think from last week, where there's supposedly a new DC movie slate where they've considerably cut out a lot of the movies that they've mentioned before. Rumors, I don't know if this is confirmed or not. But you're right. I mean, who knows what they're trying to do? They're definitely trying to do things correctly because they kind of been tripping up. But you're right. I mean, I agree. They're definitely sitting on a lot there, and they need to kind of get past, both Marvel and DC need to get past the stigma where movies and TV are, I don't know, they're separate, or it's like oil and water or something. Just forget it. The comics acknowledge the multiverse. Do what you got to do. Just simple explanation. Just give us the content that needs to be put out there. Get it done.
Get it done.
Totally
Get
agree.
it done. Because when you look at...
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. When you look at Robin's costume, when you look at... First of all, did y'all see Hawk and Dove's costume? Like, normally when you see a picture, you're like, I don't know about this. I need to see it in motion. When the picture looks that damn good, without, like, you know, obviously they touched it up, but it looks really good. I'm like, those are some pretty damn good costumes. Yeah. Now, I don't know about special effects, but we could at least throw some grounded heroes up in here and make it happen. I mean, you're doing Starfire. I mean, you're probably going to ground her a little bit, but Starfire that's a character that requires some powers, some CG. Yeah. Like, let's work on the TV front and let's crank some stuff out, DC, because I'll tell you one thing. When you look at DC and look at Marvel, they're both afraid to put full-fledged, suited up teams that represent the Marvel brand out there. Yeah. Marvel has only put out Daredevil as a character who's recognizable. DC, like, you can say the only character they put out that was instantly recognizable was the Flash. Don't talk to me about Green Arrow being easily recognizable, because Green Arrow was a B-level character before Arrow. And don't get me started on that, because Arrow's Green Arrow ain't even Green Arrow. I like Arrow, but let's keep it a $150 here. That's not Oliver Queen from the comics out here. All right. Agreed. But yeah.
And real quick, I think it was Jason Todd. Somebody asked me who's my favorite Robin. Tim Drake. But check out the video again. I linked it here. I'm gonna link it again. One's got to go. We did on Batman sidekicks, particularly the Robins. It's a good discussion.
Yes. My Dick Grayson. My favorite Robin. See, it's synonymous. My favorite Robin is Dick Grayson. You know, I like Tim Drake a lot, though. Tim Drake is. I would say that Tim Drake is the best Robin, but Dick Grayson is my favorite Robin.
Yeah, I mean, I also like Dick Grayson a lot. I think he's the quintessential Robin. I mean, he's the true successor to the Cow. I know Damon Wayne, that's what he's supposed to be, but for me, it's Nightwing.
Yeah, Nightwing's got to hold it down in the Cow for a little bit, and then, you know, swerve off to the side and give it over to somebody else. But I mean, Titans is going to be our chance to see Nightwing. If, like, Titans has so much potential. Like, I don't think people realize how much potential that show has. Also, low-key, Krypton has a lot of potential as well. Coming to sci-fi. That show has a ton of potential if they do it right.
I don't know. I'm basing this off of absolutely nothing, but something about Krypton gives me like the Gifted vibes, which was a show that I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. And the season ended, and I was like, wow, I actually really liked that show. That was
one
of the better shows of like this TV season.
Let me tell you something, man. Fox is regretting not calling The Gifted X-Men: The Gifted.
Yeah.
Because it was clear when they came out with The Gifted, they were scared to put that X-Men name on it because they were like, yo, this is our first X-Men property on TV that's like really going to relate like to X-Men characters. Like Legion is an X-Men property, obviously, but they sort of made that a little bit more generalized. I mean, obviously Shadow King's in there, but, you know, definitely not like The Gifted is like what I would want a New Mutants adaptation to be without having like the New Mutants characters you obviously know. But The Gifted really could have been X-Men: The Gifted, but they were like, nah, we not trying to tie X-Men in there because we trying to take our tippy toes. But then every episode is named X something. So yeah, but they weren't trying to advertise that as being an X-Men show, and there wasn't that much buzz going into that show. I was at San Diego Comic-Con at the panels. Yeah, there was people there, but I remember I saw there was some open seats up in that Gifted panel, man. And I was like, man, there really wasn't that much buzz coming out. I didn't hear anybody really talking about The Gifted like that. I mean, obviously I'm one person, but you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. And let's not forget Young Justice season 3. I'm doing a rewatch of that. Oh, goodness.
I could watch those first 2 seasons back to back to back to back to back to back. So good. Fantastic storytelling.
It's a great show.
Fantastic storytelling. And if you're out here and you haven't seen Young Justice, I mean, I'll put it like this, man. You hear us talking about all this stuff, like all this comic book stuff, and like we're not experts on anything. We just like sitting here talking with you guys. So we run the stream for like an hour and a half. It's just like, hey, we're like, screw it, we're just gonna chat with you guys. Yeah. But it's shows like that get you into this world. I didn't read comics like that when I was a kid. Like I read a comic book or two, but I read more comics now than I did when I was a young kid. like I fully embraced that because shows like Young Justice, shows like Batman the Animated Series, shows like Justice League, shows like Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond,
Spider-Man, X-Men Animated Series,
all these shows that, you know, these especially 90s babies talk about, you know, like those are the things that brought us into this, man. So like if you ever want to like know about all that stuff, you just got to pick a place to start and get into it. And before you know it, you have like a knowledge base to build off of. And a lot of these things aren't exactly like the comic books, but let's be honest, comics have been around for like just like early, you know, in the last century. Like we don't got time to go and read every single comic, everybody. So, you know, somebody said Justice League Unlimited was horrible.
It's crazy gaming. He puts the crazy in crazy gaming. That is the blasphemy upon all blasphemies. Justice League Unlimited was dope. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one, sir.
I'm gonna have to speak with your physician, because whatever prescription you're on, we gotta up it, bro. Because you out here talking some nonsense right now. Justice League Unlimited was phenomenal.
Yeah,
and it's even more phenomenal when you go back and watch it based on, like, for example, Vigilante and Arrow. Vigilante was in Justice League Unlimited, just a different version of Vigilante, but you didn't realize that at the time. But if you go back, you're like, oh snap! And Vigilante, they had so many obscure characters in Justice League Unlimited. Put that show like that show was phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal. Like if you thought it was horrible, I beg of you. I beg of you, go watch that again. And listen, it seems like I see what you're coming from, Crazy Gaming, and I understand it. He liked the Justice League. He didn't like Unlimited because Unlimited sort of picked more minor characters and spotlighted them. Fair, but there's more to DC Comics than just the Justice League.
I thought
just it was Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
I thought it was a great continuation. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Justice League did the Thanagarian War. That was like the final storyline. That was a dope storyline.
That was great.
And honestly, I mean, it's sometimes you can't go to the well too much. Sometimes you gotta just end it while you're on top. And they just did a new idea, and it was great in my opinion. And Justice League Unlimited gave us one of the greatest Flash moments I think I've ever seen. And that's towards, I think, is like the final episode of the final episode before that Amanda Waller Batman Beyond thing. That's a little weird, but
Yeah,
where the
that
Flash,
you know what that was?
Yeah,
that was Batman Beyond. Never got the end. Never got a true ending.
Mm-hmm.
It got canceled.
Yeah.
So the writers for Justice League Unlimited, in an episode called Epilogue, actually decided to give Batman Beyond somewhat of an ending. It was a weird episode, yes, but that was planned in that respect.
But that Flash moment, who was he? Was he going up against Brainiac? Was it Darkseid?
I think it was Brainiac.
I think it was Brainiac. And
I know Lex Luthor was there.
And Brainiac was like, Flash, what you gonna do? Just gonna run? And I was like, damn. He's kind of right. But then the Flash was like, all right, I see you. And my man, the Flash, runs around the world and punches him in the back of the head. He just keeps running and punching him and punching him. I was like, yo.
Yeah, it was good. That was great.
And the Flash was doing that scream. That's how I felt as a kid. I was like, ah. I was like, yo. That was dope. And another thing I want to mention real quick, and I think this might kind of show the age difference between you guys in the chat and us here doing the video. Because you guys mentioned Krypto the Superdog, right? I've seen Krypto the Superdog. Okay, it's not bad. But I could see...
Let's just say when you say Krypto the Superdog was the shit, I would take out the.
We were probably a little too old for Krypto the Superdog. And I think that's one of those theme songs that I would never get out of my head. I don't know if I ever remember that Krypto the Superdog theme song.
No.
I'm not gonna rag on it, but I was like, okay, I'm a little too old for Krypto. Not knocking anybody, because if you're that age, I could see the appeal. But
right. My man, it's Superman's dog.
We got Bat Cow.
It's Superman's dog,
got
people.
Bat Cow. We got the Flash's cat.
See, Bacha, you said you were like 5. See, I feel you now, and you put context into it because when I was 5, I thought boogers were a delicacy. It's not good. It's not a delicacy. It's no escargot, man. Okay.
Oh my bad.
I tell you, Krypto can escargot. Go.
My bad. There is a Bat Hound. Yes, he was the one on the show. But in the comics, there's a Bat Cow. That is a thing. That is a real thing. I don't know.
Somebody. Crazy Gaming. I hear you talking about Justice League Unlimited still, and you said, but then focusing on minor characters, then they shouldn't call it Justice League. Crazy Gaming. Are you aware of the Justice League? There's like 600 million characters that have been in the Justice League.
Yeah, they did.
There are like 80 different versions of it. There's like Justice League of America, Justice League of this place. Yeah. The Justice League Unlimited.
The show, I think, was specifically based off of something that happened in the comic. Like they did something similar where they opened up the Justice League. They were like, okay, we need like everybody, and that's when they started like. And like the core members became more delegates than anything else, and they're pretty much doing what they did on the show,
right?
Where they were just telling people like, you got to go over there, you got to go over there.
That is what it is on the show, Crazy Gaming. Like they took other Justice League characters, other minor Justice League characters, and focused on them. That's exactly what they did, and I thought it was phenomenal. We may never see that again.
What I liked about it is it gave. Like, there were individual episodes, but it almost felt like the season was, like, one big thing that was going on.
Absolutely.
The fact that it was, like, constant, like, it was... I wouldn't be surprised if it all took place in, like, the span of, like, a month or something. That's kind of the vibe that I got out of the show, how they were constantly sending people to different missions, as opposed to having a serialized approach to the first Justice League. Like, it was, week to week or whatever the schedule was, but it definitely felt like they got that larger scale done right.
Right, and that's where Crazy Gaming finds a problem. He finds a problem in there being random superheroes as opposed to the group you got to know in the original Justice League. And that's a fair point. I understand that. But when you watch Justice League Unlimited in its entirety, it's pretty damn good because they still have time for the characters from the original Justice League, and they weave it into these newer characters. And let's be honest, if a show is going to evolve, it would have gotten stale after a while because that's what happens with these shows. Like Batman, the animated series, would have gotten stale after a while. That's why they took that Batman, plucked him out and put him in Justice League. Superman the animated series would have got still after a while. Plucked him out, put him in Justice League. These Justice Leaguers doing their thing would have got still after a while. They're like, yo, let's make this a variety show showing off a cast of our characters. Like, once again, I don't know if there's anything like any comic book property adaptation that has ever done anything like Justice League Unlimited, putting the spotlight on literally like a good percentage of your roster and still being like critically acclaimed. I'm not sure that that's ever going to happen again. And you may not like it, but that's what gets people onto new things. That's what puts people onto newer characters. That's what puts people on to characters who were obscure yesterday, who are now well known today. That's how it starts. Yeah. That's how it starts, man.
I mean, in Justice League Unlimited, we have a character by the name of Green Arrow that was kind of prominent. And now he kind of kickstarted a whole TV universe.
I'm saying.
And we also had Kara Zor-El on there.
Yes, we did. And we also got an adaptation of Power Girl on there. That was pretty dope, if I'm not mistaken.
True, yes, agreed. And we also had Black Lightning as well. And even some of those legends.
Smaller soldiers, everybody.
Some of those legends, I'm pretty sure they were on that show as well.
There you go. Bada bing, bada boom. The dopest show in the room. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. You know, but I mean, it's always fun reminiscing about this stuff because, you know, people. It's funny how different generations see things from a different perspective. You know, because, you know, we're not that much older than most of the people in here. Mm-hmm. Like I'm turning 28 this year. You're turning 29 this year. But those couple years, I mean, a lot of shows, those dope shows that we enjoyed, like a lot of them sort of hit their stride in like the mid 90s, early 2000s or early aughts. And a lot of people miss that, you know, and we're here to put you onto those things because what you may not have liked back then, go ahead and give that another shot today. And I can almost promise you'll see it from a different mind. Even AMJ, I remember AMJ every day. He was talking about Justice League. He's like, man, I just can't get into this. I just can't get into this. I was like, AMJ, sit down, give it another shot. Give it another shot. Yeah. And you end up liking stuff. You end up liking things, man. You know, keep an open mind about some of this stuff, man. Like, that's one thing we want to create with the Spectacular Spoiler League. Yeah, we're going to be critical. Yeah, we're going to call things, you know, bummassery. Yeah, we're going to call things trash. But also keep an open mind so that, you know, we can all grow and learn new things together. And sort of delve into this world because, you know, comic books is an awesome experience, man. It's an awesome world, it's an awesome universe to delve into, man. You know, and we've only scratched the surface. Yeah. And honestly, I got to thank you guys out there for helping me, you know, get on things and wanting to absorb more knowledge because your questions, your comments, they make me do the research. They make me interested in the further endeavors. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Hazy said, it's a two-way street because you guys have your own points of views, your own interests that we may not necessarily consider because, you know, we got a lot on our plate. But if we see you guys are checking out a certain thing, we're like, let's see what this is about. You know what I mean? Or let's maybe pay a little bit more attention to this character because people seem to find it kind of popular because we have our own biases. We have certain characters that we find rather popular. That's, you know, at this age, sometimes we see the response and we're like, wow, people actually don't like the X-Men like that? Like the X-Men was crack back in the day.
Yeah.
And now it's like people have forgotten about them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And also, I mean, we were lucky to kind of have grown up in the 90s. I think that was kind of the right time because, you know, some of those shows you mentioned, even a little bit before then, like the Fantastic Four show, Iron Man, Hulk, you know, again, some of you guys, particularly X-Men and Spider-Man, the animated series, like older generations, they didn't really have too many of those things to watch, whether it was movies or TV.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe we look at things with, was it rose-colored glasses or rose-tinted glasses, however the expression goes.
Gold-tinted, I don't know what it is.
Gold-tinted, but I do think some of the stuff we saw in particular was quality. But then if you kind of look back a little further, that's when it might get a little rough. I do agree.
Yeah.
Like the original
Yeah.
Flash show might be a little rough to watch. You know,
For sure.
The Hulk show with Lou Ferrigno. You know, my parents they watched that show. You know, your parents knew about that show. It's a little, probably a little tough to kind of go back and watch. You know, but I think in the last 20 or so years, I mean, maybe even like 30 years at this point, there's a good chunk of content, and especially going into the future, there's more great stuff that we're gonna get in the horizon. So,
yeah. I mean, it's a couple of things I wanted to say based on what you said. I mean, you know, Matt V in the chat, he said, you know, so there's still hope for Supergirl. Yeah, there's still hope for Supergirl. We talk all the time about how we would personally deliver that show out of what we believe to be, you know, mired in sort of mediocrity.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they position Supergirl as Superman, and if that's what they're gonna do, then do that, and just do it well, because there have been some good Superman shows in the past. So just do it. Right,
exactly. And you know, of course, we've seen Spider-Man the animated series, but you know, DeepBoyce sort of brought up the idea of, you know, sometimes you look back at something and it sort of changes your opinion of it. I mean, Spider-Man animated series is still a great adaptation of Spider-Man, still great like show. But like, just to break it for you, I'm gonna give you just a little thing that would probably break. You know, if you went back and watch it, it would be like, what? Like, I never noticed that when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But in that show, Spider-Man never actually punches anybody with his fists.
Interesting.
Never punches anybody with his fists. It's always webbing. It's always kicking. And the only reason why he does that is because censorship. They actually did not want a certain level of violence on the show. So they actually didn't have him throwing closed fist punches at anybody. He's always kicking or throwing or, you know, hitting people with webbing, but he never actually punched anybody.
Never noticed.
I mean, you know, that was part of the censorship rules of back then. I mean, similarly with Batman the animated series, like, I think there's like a couple of I mean, one of the things was like, I think cigarettes. Like, no one smoked cigarettes in there, but like Scarface had a cigar, but I think he just never smoked it. Yeah, I don't know. So there are definitely like some censorship issues that you never noticed, but when you go back and watch, you're like, holy crap, that's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, like Spider-Man, people are like, what? No, Spider-Man never punches anybody in that show because of censorship. And the reason why I bring that up is because back when we were growing up, there was a little bit more openness towards certain things being expressed in animation, and that allowed for more mature storytelling. Likewise, I mean, this is probably more believable, but Wolverine, like, he was never really using his claws to like actually scratch anybody. He never scratched anything other than machines. He never scratched any human beings in that show because of censorship. You'd always see him jumping on someone's back or throwing somebody or going rah, and then running at someone, but not actually hitting them, like, because of censorship. Yeah. But nowadays, like, take the most recent Batman animated series that came out, Beware the Batman, right? Underrated show. You need to go watch that if you haven't watched that. Super underrated.
It's a good show.
But one of the things with that show is they wouldn't allow like guns that actually looked or sounded like guns. So they had to switch that to like pew pew guns, like laser type guns, because of censorship. Meanwhile, Batman the animated series, you watch an episode and they're unloading more clips than like the whole like the whole World War II period. Like, they're just unloading clips like crazy in the Batman the animated series. But in Beware the Batman, they weren't allowed to do that. So like,
it's weird. It's weird because even like when we were young, I mean, there were shows like Ren and Stimpy, Beavis and Butthead. They were going in. Those shows were. Absolutely. You didn't even see that stuff today. They were going in. But I guess it was networks, and there were a lot of I forgot what they were called, but like parent censorship groups. You know, I guess like a lot of groups of I guess mothers that didn't want images of drugs and alcohol, you know, on TV, whether it's cartoons or not. Because of, you know, the problems people had back then. I mean, people still use drugs nowadays, but they use them a lot less than they used to. There were very big campaigns back in the day against that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, AMJ sort of brought up a great example, and it's interesting too because it's a Japanese show, and Japanese dubs are definitely shown to be more adult than what's shown in the United States. But Dragon Ball Z Kai, or Dragon Ball Kai, as it's known in Japan. That's a perfect example of censorship and how things have changed. When we watched Dragon Ball Z, there was blood. There was straight up red blood.
Yeah,
it was blood.
To this day, like, I will not forget when Frieza gets cut in half by his own Destructo disc.
Yes,
and he looked like a salami cut in half. It was just
yes, or the stereotypical thing in Dragon Ball Z, when someone would get punched and they'd go like this, and just wipe the red blood off their face. When you watch Kai, it's like black soot now.
Yeah,
it's like black soot, and it's like, what? That doesn't even make any sense. Like, what? Why is dirt coming out of their mouth? You know what I mean? Like, they've censored that, and the reason why they did that is because, and this is literally on record, they did that for Kai to introduce Dragon Ball Z to a new generation, but have that generation not be exposed to the violence that previous generation that had been exposed to. So they censored it in order to introduce Kai, which shows you that they always plan. Like Dragon Ball Super was probably in the works for a long time, because they introduced Dragon Ball Z to a new generation on purpose. That was the whole idea of Kai, something more true to the manga, and something that was a lot more censored and easy to consume. Even, I mean, there's one scene where I think Vegeta. There's a couple scenes where Vegeta hits Gohan, or maybe Goku hits Gohan. It's completely censored in the Kai version. Completely censored. Like, it blacks out where that happens, and it sort of just shows Gohan on the floor, like, like what, and they blocked that. I also think they blocked out when Vegeta punched Goten and Trunks in the stomach, knocking him out when he was fighting Majin Buu. I think they censored that, because I remember when I watched Dragon Ball Z, he straight up punched him in the stomach, and you saw it. They might have censored that too. I'm not sure, but censorship rules have changed things, and that's why, like, the shows that we sort of revere, from when we were kids, we can go back and watch them today, and it feels the same because it aged with us. Now we may notice a little bit more. I mean, even things like Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny was like, Elmer Fudd is out here shooting shotgun shells at Bugs Bunny. Like, you can't have that now in kid shows. Yeah. And it's watered down, and that's why we revere these shows. And it's not to say your generation is not as good as ours or anything like that. We're just telling you, it's just part of the larger conversation of keeping an open mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's some shows that you guys mentioned there that I haven't seen, and I plan on watching at some point. Like is it Spectacular Spider-Man, or one of those newer Spider-Man series? I think you told me in particular.
Ultimate Spider-Man?
One of them that was good. I don't know.
Spectacular Spider-Man was good, because Ultimate Spider-Man to me was not good. Although there are plenty of kids today that will tell you Ultimate Spider-Man was awesome, but that was not a good show. I'm sorry, I tried. I watched a lot of it. It wasn't good.
That and that other Avengers show that I never checked out, because Marvel's animation is seriously lacking, and I would love for them to, start a new initiative where they make some good Marvel animation.
You need to you got to see Spectacular Spider-Man, and you got to see Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes. That's the one you're talking about. Avengers Assemble it's watered down, man. It's too much ice cubes in my drink. Like,
yeah, I think I saw.
It is super watered down. Earth's Mightiest Heroes is I can't believe you, especially, because you're like, you love Marvel, bro. And like, not that I don't love Marvel, but you grew up on Marvel. Like, Earth's Mightiest Heroes would blow your mind.
Yeah, I'll probably have to give it a chance at some point. When I was working on the video for the whole Captain Marvel thing, and I found I was looking through her different costumes throughout her history, and I think it was the Avengers. She was in the Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes, right? But she had like an old school costume at some point in that show, right?
She had the Miss Marvel costume.
Yeah, because it was specifically the second one, because the original one I don't think they can ever use again, because it was like an old school sexist, a little ridiculous.
Yeah, it was testosterone running wild over there. But no, Earth's Mightiest Heroes is phenomenal, and the reason why it ended is because, I mean, it's actually because of the advent of the Marvel movies. The Marvel movies came out, and a lot of people of all ages were enjoying the portrayals of Iron Man and Captain America and Thor and they wanted to create something that was more akin to the movies, sort of like something that was inspired by the movies. So they canceled Earth's Mightiest Heroes, even though it was critically acclaimed, and they created Avengers Assemble, which, you know, has had a decent run, you know, and they've introduced a lot of characters, but the writing, I don't think, was ever up to par. But Avengers Assembles, for a lot of kids growing up right now, that's going to be like the way we talk about those 90 shows, they're going to talk about those shows because they've introduced Black Panther and they've introduced Carol Danvers. They've introduced a lot of characters in Avengers Assemble. Also spun out Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, as well. They had that bum ass show Hulk Agents of Smash. That was
they could do
how you are Agent of Smash. What? Stupidest thing I ever heard, yo. The Hulk Agent Smash.
They could do so much. They could do so much. I mean, I think they're doing was it a Secret Warrior show?
Yes, the Secret Warriors show was one of the seasons. Was it Secret Warriors?
I'm saying that it's a new show that's coming out. I remember they showed it at the D20 thing, whatever it's called, last year, where it's Chloe Bennett is Quake, and I think they have Squirrel Girl and a couple other characters, something like that.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, even new stuff like that. You know, I'm not sure how good it's gonna be, but yeah, absolutely. I forgot about that. You don't like Hulk blogs? Man. Agents of Trash. That's what it should be called. Hulk and the Agents of Trash, yo. Pick up the garbage that was that writing, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm hating on people's livelihood and their well-being, but that wasn't good, brother.
It's a terrible title for a show. The Agents of Smash. Come on,
son. And the new Spider-Man show.
It's getting a second season, I think, right?
Getting a second season, man. But I kid you not, I was at San Diego Comic-Con, everybody, right? Mm-hmm. I listen, as God is my witness, I love Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And I never been bored watching a Spider-Man episode in my life. Damn. And I was bored. Like, Ultimate Spider-Man was bad, but I couldn't say I was bored. Like, I was watching that Spider-Man show, and I was like... Like, I was in San Diego Comic-Con watching the show, getting a sneak peek at the Spider-Man animated series, new Spider-Man show. The animation is not good for that show. Mm. Like, that's another thing that Marvel wanted to do when they dropped Earth's Mightiest Heroes. They wanted to lessen the budget on animation. And now they've lessened it to the point where it's basically a stop-motion video. I mean, it's not good, man. Like, it's like Spider-Man... is not good. Like that I don't know. Maybe it'll come into its own, but I watched a couple episodes, maybe 3 or 4 episodes, and it wasn't good. I couldn't even tell you what happened with it, to be honest with you. Can't even tell you what happened. So I apologize, man. But you know, Cloak and Dagger, Cloak and Dagger's on the horizon too. We'll be checking that. But you know, you're gonna hear from us a lot this year. We're definitely still, you know, we're still at it. You know, it's content wise, you know, we're putting out stuff, you know, as much as we can. Unfortunately, like, we got life stuff. Like, I'll be honest with you guys right now. I'm literally like trying to move my life to another another state right now. Yeah. So like a little bit tough, but we'll be talking about all that stuff once everything settles down. It might take a while, it might take a little bit, but we're still here, man. You know, we're still here chatting with you guys for, you know, 2 hours or whatever. We hanging out, man. But Cloak and Dagger, I don't really know too much about those characters, so I've got a lot of research to do because I don't really know too much about Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, like that. They don't really have too many like solo comics. Yeah, they just kind of been here and there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Freeform is formerly ABC Family. Yeah. For those people who are confused by Freeform, it's like the former ABC Family. I don't know. That's all I know about Freeform. I've never seen anything. I think that show Pretty Little Liars used to be on there. Maybe.
I have no idea.
You know. Yeah. Real quick, somebody asked about Barry's daughter. I saw that earlier. I forgot to. I'm sorry. I forgot to answer that.
She's also fine.
Sarah. What's her name? Sarah Jessica Kennedy, I think her name is.
I don't know.
I had to look that up for research purposes as well. or Jessica Sarah Parker, something like that. I forget what her name is. But she's a beautiful young woman. But yeah, I mean, it could be Dawn. It could also be, I cannot remember the name of his granddaughter right now. I think it might be Dawn Allen, and the only reason why I think it might be Dawn is because of it's Jenny Ognatz. That's his granddaughter's name. Jenny Ognatz. It could be Jenny Ognatz, could very well be her. The only reason why I leaned more towards Dawn Allen was because when Barry Allen was, when he came out of Speed Force and he was saying all these like weird things, and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna need more diapers because they're, him and Irish are gonna have twins or something like that, or twins are gonna need more diapers." He's something along those lines. Mm-hmm. Like all of those lines have played into the Flash this season. So like, him saying, Your Honor, I'm innocent. That once again plays into the season later on. Like, so all those things he said sort of play into the season later on. So I feel like that reference to him and Iris having twins in the future would naturally come to fruition through Dawn Allen. However, if it's Jenny Ognatz, it could very well be, Jenny Ognatz saying, "Oh yeah, I'm your granddaughter. I am the daughter of, the twins that you and Iris had or whatever, or, one of the twins that you and Iris had." So it could be that, but I think it's Dawn Allen. She was out here writing the same symbols that Barry was writing in the Speed Force. Also, those symbols look quite similar to the symbols on the Thinker's head, the original Thinker's head, mm-hmm. on his skin.
True.
No idea what they're doing with that language stuff, but it looks cool. It looks cool. But I will say that somehow that writing, that's all tied together. Because whatever she's writing, like, she's not like Barry writing. Like when Barry was writing it, he was like deranged. He's like on his like Speed Force, like drunk on time. He was like drunk on time. That's probably the best way to say it. Like he was so drunk on what he had seen in the Speed Force. So he was writing that and not even, he already said he's unaware of what he was writing. But she's out there writing it like, Dear Diary, square triangle with a weird line. Like she's out here writing it like and the way she's writing, I was like, damn, she's writing those shapes like she learned that from like kindergarten. But I don't know. I'm not really sure. Her name is Jessica Kennedy Parker. Yes. Thank you, Jason Sotelo. I appreciate it. Say, I got you, Hazy. See you doing some research too, Jason Sotelo. You a cool fellow, but it's I have to really think about what they're doing with Dawn Allen or Jenny Ognatz. But it's either she's Dawn Allen or Jenny Ognatz. It's either or. I personally lean towards Dawn Allen. I could be wrong. Your future language? Maybe. Jason Todd hits with another question. You want to get this question, boys?
Sure. Have we been reading DC Rebirth? Most definitely. I don't want to speak for Hazy, but he was definitely on DC Rebirth for quite some time.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, a lot of things going on, so we kind of jump in and out in terms of comic book reading. But yeah, me personally, I've been reading DC Rebirth, I guess, since it started, and that was 2016, the summer of 2016, I believe, or was it last year? I just feel like the last 2 years I've blended together, so I don't really remember.
Yeah, I think it's 20. I think you're right. I think it's 2016. It just feels like reading Rebirth.
Yeah. It's been really good. Honestly, I guess the best way to describe the way that I kind of go about my comic book reading, I still kind of read more Marvel, but that's because I just want to see what's going on over on the Marvel side, not necessarily because I think it's better. There's still some good books on there, but DC Rebirth for me, it's like it's never any like I never feel like I'm reading anything that I'm not enjoying on a DC Rebirth, on the DC end of things. I'm not reading every single book that DC has out, but when it comes to Detective Comics, Batman, Green Arrow, both Green Lantern books, Teen Titans, Nightwing, Super Sons, I'm enjoying it. Flash, I'm really enjoying everything.
Green
Arrow's been extremely solid.
I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I'm like, man, I don't know which comics to read because there are too many good ones to read. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think I've ever been in that point in my life. Like, And Rebirth definitely has me there. And I'm sure there's people out there like, oh, Rebirth's not that special, but Rebirth, like, to me, has been really cool. Yeah. It's been really good. Boyce reads way more comics than I do. I wish I could read as many comics as he does. I don't know how Boyce finds the time to, like. Boyce is like the master of multitask. I'm serious. This guy's like the master of multitask. He'll be like editing a video. He'll be watching like the latest episode of Arrow, playing Injustice 2. Shout out to Injustice 2.
Dope hat.
And thank you. And then he'll look.
That's a dope hat.
Then he'll also be, you know, somehow reading like 6 issues of Rebirth. I'm like, I don't know how he does it, but I'm so behind in comics right now that, like, I'm gonna have an ulcer if I look at where, like, how much I have not touched Dark Knight's Metal, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't touched Doomsday Clock yet, but those are slow burns right now, so I can catch up.
Doomsday Clock, I think the 3rd issue came out this week. You'll be all right. Like, you don't have to really. If you read Watchmen, right? Did you read Watchmen before?
Yeah,
back in the day, and
back in the day,
way back in the day. So that's all you really need to know, other than everything else you've read. Dark Knight's Metal, that's a little bit more complicated. I know a lot of people like it. I think it's okay. I just think it's kind of overly confusing because Scott Snyder, he has a weird way of writing. I mean, I remember you and we were both talking about All-Star Batman, which Scott Snyder wrote. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I try to wipe that from my memory because All-Star Batman was an all-star waste of time.
He has it's I don't know, but Doomsday Clock is very interesting, and Jeff Johns always does amazing work. It's hard for me to really say anything other than I don't know what's going on, but I'm extremely intrigued, and everything is very well done. So we'll see how this all plays out.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to get into too much because obviously there's some spoilers for people that haven't read it. But there's some very interesting stuff involving Dr. Manhattan, Batman, Superman, Rorschach, and some of these other characters they kind of threw on there. But
funny little tidbit about DC Comics that you guys may not have seen today at the time of this recording. But so, like, the actual real Doomsday Clock, like, there's actually a scientific, like, scientists band together, and, like, there's a Doomsday Clock that determines how close or far we are from, or near or far we are from, like, the end of the world, or Armageddon, which is determined by it being midnight. So today, at the time of this recording, scientists actually moved it, like, to the point where it's 2 minutes before midnight, right, for the Doomsday Clock, right, which is a big deal. It hasn't been that close since, like, the 1950s, during, like, the height of the Cold War, where people were, like, worried about nuclear Armageddon. So the DC Comics Twitter account, they tweeted out something that had me, like, cracking up because they had to apologize for it later on.
I think
they were like,
right?
Yeah, they deleted it. They said, I got a snapshot of it. They said, take your mind off the hashtag Doomsday Clock with Doomsday Clock #3 out now. They're like, take your mind off of Armageddon, everybody, and read this comic book that we have out today. And they were like, sorry for the insensitive joke that we made.
Come on.
I was like, they tweeted that out.
I thought that was great.
I thought that was hilarious because, I mean, I thought it was good. It was good dark humor.
Yeah,
it was good dark humor because it wasn't, like, over the top. It wasn't, you know, obviously some people may have found offense to that, but, you know, I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. DC's out here like, yo, take your mind off of your impending doom and check out Doomsday Clock right now. I was like, damn, DC, what y'all doing with this Twitter? Either commit or don't do it, DC. Stick to your guns. It's funny because them deleting that tweet is exactly what they did with the New 52. They're like, damn, this isn't working out for us, man. Let's do a rebirth. Let's fix this. Let's somehow fix this, man. They couldn't stick with it, man. They had to renege on that, man.
I think Matt V had an interesting question. He asked about what's going on with the 3 Jokers, and that was something that happened, I think, around New 52.
Yes,
because Batman was kind of the only really one of the few interesting titles in New 52, and I guess long story short, they kind of expanded on the mythos of the Lazarus Pit, and they tied it into Vandal Savage, and there's like another guy, the Immortal Man, I'm forgetting his name. So basically, there was an asteroid that hit Earth a long time ago, and it carried this element called Dionysium, and Dionysium gave Vandal Savage immortality. And Dionysium is also contained within the Lazarus Pit, but it's like an impure version. That's why when you get thrown in the Lazarus Pit, you go crazy. So apparently there are 3 Jokers, and the Joker has been keeping himself alive by dipping into like some sort of Lazarus Pit that only he knows about in Gotham. They haven't touched that again. So who knows when. I mean, it seems they touched on that with Dark Knight's Metal, and it seems like they're also tying into Dionysium and the Nth Metal, and why all these metahumans are metahumans in the first place. There's some sort of tie to that, which is part of the reason why I'm saying, you know, Dark Knight's Metal is a little complicated. But long story short, it's just some open threads that they left on there. The editors are probably going to wrap it up at some point with some Batman story as to how and why there are 3 Jokers, and you know what that means.
That was a great summary.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Like, that was great. Yeah, because that's, you literally condensed like a good couple, like that's several years of small seeds being planted. Because that, like you said, that Joker, the notion of there being more than one Joker, that was established like in the New 52 and only hinted at.
Yeah. So
that's like a thread that they've been picking up and slowly elaborating on. But that's definitely like a several-year thread.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is pretty cool. I mean, it's 2018 now.
Yeah.
You know, Rebirth 2016, so it's at least 3 years or so. I don't even remember when it was first introduced, but
yeah. And
you're right. There's definitely going to be some Batman storyline, but they're chilling on the Joker a little bit and telling some great Batman stories while they're at it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I welcome it.
It's I get DC kind of does that well, where they kind of harken back to something from like 5 years ago. Like, again, not to talk too much about Dark Knight's Metal, this is kind of explaining the setup, but in a crossover back in the day before New 52 called Final Crisis, where Batman gets killed by Darkseid, he gets hit by the Omega Beams. But what happens is he gets sent back in time for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that period where he was back in time with these cavemen gets brought back into Dark Knight's Metal and explains how there were these tribes back in the day, and there was one god that they worship called Barbatos, and this god is coming back, and Batman is the key. That's why he's coming after Batman, and that's why Batman is the key to all of this that's going on right now.
Yeah, Barbatos sounds like something that's in your soda that you shouldn't be drinking. It's like, yo, you got to lay off that fructose and Barbatos, man. It's getting a little heavy in the stomach area, man.
I don't know how I don't know if it's Barbatos or Barbatos. I don't know. It's basically Barbados, but with a T in it. So I don't know.
I was about to say, because, you know, talking about Barbados, I'm like,
that's not a bad place to be.
Don't be calling Barbados no caveman, man. That's not nice.
But yeah,
I was like, come on, man.
Some interesting stuff out there, and I mean, obviously, it seems intimidating because there's a lot to kind of get into. But you know, just pick something that you're interested in and start from there. I mean, both, you know, DC Rebirth started summer of 2016, and All New All Different Marvel started the beginning of 2016. Just pick one and just run with it.
Here's my thing, and this is something that, like, I know it annoys people, and it annoys me too, because I always call you and I continuity whores, because we grew up in this generation that play these RPGs, and we got to do every side mission in the game and talk to every NPC.
Yeah.
But like, when it comes to comics, pick a storyline, because every comic is separated into little mini arcs, a 1-part or 2-part or 3-part or 4-part arc. Pick a point in a comic where it's part 1 and just start there. Okay, just start there. Like, if it's recent, just start there, because no matter where you start in a comic, everybody, there's always going to be something that they reference that you're just like, huh?
Yeah.
But that's why they got wikis. That's why they got forums. You can always search that stuff. Just start. If you're trying to read, just start. Because trust me, that racked my brain for a long time, especially with Marvel. That's sort of, you know, something that has made me step out of Marvel. But I can always step back in, because I'm like, there's always a part where I can just come in. And yeah, sometimes it'll be like, whoa, last time on, check out this issue. And yeah, that'll happen, but you will eventually, as you read forward, you'll eventually forget that you didn't necessarily understand those details when you first started reading. Just hop in. Yeah. Just hop in.
And it helps to have someone that is somewhat knowledgeable, someone that could at least point you in the right direction.
Right.
So, I mean, feel free to ask any one of us if you have any of these questions about, hey, I want to read this, or where do I start with this? We'll at least try and help you out.
Yeah. I mean, we're cracking on you because you writing laughing my ass off in the chat, but you're not actually laughing.
I laughed.
I mean,
I laughed before I typed. Why? To me, talking. That's when I laughed.
To be fair, chat, what you see in chat and what you see on the screen, us talking is somewhat delayed. So, but yeah, man, we've talked about doing something on comics that sort of helps people get into things. It's just that there's never a consensus on what needs to be this, what you guys want to hear. So it's like sort of tough for us to say, okay, we're gonna do this thing about how to get into this comic, and you may not even give a damn about this comic. Most people might not even care. But one of the videos that I enjoyed the most, I mean, I enjoy all these freaking videos, man. I'm enjoying this live stream, but one of the videos that we enjoyed, I enjoyed doing was top 5 DC comics to read right now. We did that sometime last year, and that was great. Like, I just love talking about some of the current comics we're reading, and that's always sort of come back in my mind as to how I can do that with you guys. But I would love to do something in that regard, but we've had some ideas. It's just timing's never really been right. But we'll definitely continue to think about ways to integrate actual comics into the conversation, because after all, that is the source material. Like, that is what fuels all these other conversations that we have. You know what I mean? So yeah, Red Hood and Outlaw, that's another one that's freaking great. Jason Todd mentioned that.
Yes,
I love that comic.
It's a great comic.
Another good idea. Forgot to say that. Some comics release every 2 weeks, some once a month. Red Hood and Outlaws, fantastic comic to jump in because it only comes out once a month and there are not that many issues.
Yeah, I think maybe we're on issue 10, maybe.
Yeah, they're really early. Red Hood and Outlaws is really early on. That one, Titans as well. This is like once monthly series. Yeah. So you can pick these up, and if you feel like you want to read about another character, then you can jump into those. Detective Comics, that's another one to jump into when there's a new, those parts I talked to you guys about. When you see a part 1, just jump into the Detective Comics. You see a part 1 pop out, just jump in. Yeah. Or just go a couple weeks back and jump into a part 1. Because generally speaking, it's relatively contained. Obviously, there's a larger continuity there, but Batman is rolling with a pretty cool ragtag team in Detective Comics. Honestly, one of his best teams. If I had to say anything about it, I think it's one of his most interesting teams.
Agreed.
But yeah, they finally made you enjoy Bizarro, Jason Todd. Yeah, Bizarro is one of the wackest characters of all time. He's really good character.
Me and Bizarro,
I just think. What do you say?
Me and Bizarro.
Listen, man.
You don't like that vocabulary?
Me and Bizarro. Me and bored with this character. I mean, it's just I want Bizarro to. I want them to make Bizarro not Bizarro. He can maintain that dumbed down persona or whatever, but the name Bizarro has got to go. Give him something else.
I mean, he's technically Bizarro Superman. Or that was his name.
Yeah, but that's like if you took a Superman from Earth, I don't know, Earth 1311, who's a black Superman, and you just said, hey, I'm gonna call you Black Superman instead of calling you your own name. I think all right, I'm dumb Superman. That's basically who Bizarro is. I'm dumb Superman.
I could be wrong about this, but I think the whole gimmick for Bizarro Superman was that he was from a mirror universe where everything was the opposite. That's why he has freeze lasers from his eyes and heat breath.
Yeah. There are multiple versions of Bizarro, but yeah, that was the original. Yeah, I think it was the original.
Yeah,
but it's bad.
Terry Baker mentioned check out King Thanos. Do you mean the Thanos comic that's currently going on? Because if so, that one's amazing. That's one of my favorite Marvel books, written by this guy named Donny Cates. Everything that he's been writing has been phenomenal. Anyone that is also on issue 6. you could definitely jump in on that one, and you don't have to. It doesn't really get tied to anything else that's going on out there. Great book about a character that we're going to be seeing a lot of in May in the Avengers Infinity War.
Black Panther's coming in like 2 weeks, everybody.
I was like, okay, I want to know a little bit more about this character, so I started reading like his older comics, like the Christopher Priest run, which is like, that's the definitive run on it. It's actually not too bad, but it's coming out in like, what, 2 weeks now?
Yes.
I'm excited for
that. Check out Rise of the Black Panther right now in stores.
Ooh, yes.
A dope man by the name of Evan Narcisse is writing that. Check that out, people.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. Check that out. Evan Narcisse, cool cat. We had the opportunity to meet him, and we got to get him. We got to talk with him. We got to get him on here because that would be fantastic.
Agreed.
And if you guys let us know if you guys are down to hear us do some interviews, man, because we've thought about doing interviews for this channel, and we'd love to do that.
Yes, sir.
But Rise of the Black Panther, check that out, man. Do yourself a favor, check that out. Evan Narcisse is right now. Yeah. Black Panther's coming, y'all.
only one issue for Rise of the Black Panther, and the Black Panther book by Ta-Nehisi Coates has been going on for a while. That one's been pretty solid. Definitely a more mature comic when compared to the other kind of Marvel comics. Definitely a little bit more based, focusing on the politics and what it means to be a king for T'Challa.
Ta-Nehisi Coates has been absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely killing it. Jason Sotelo interview with Jeff Johns. Listen. I would love to interview Jeff Johns.
Hazy, I think you got to link him. I don't know if it's up to you, but maybe hit him with the link. A momentous occasion.
Maybe. Here's the thing about Jeff Johns. I met Jeff Johns at New York City Comic Con, right? He follows me on Twitter, actually. Like, Jeff Johns, dead ass, follows me on Twitter. Mm-hmm. But I met him on the streets at New York Comic Con, and, I asked him, I was like, hey, I would love to get in touch with you and have an interview with you, even if it's like 10, 15 minutes. I know you're a busy guy. And he was like, honestly, I'd love to do it, but, like, it very much depends on, like, the execs and who they want you to talk to, who they want me to talk to. He's like, I wish I could, but I don't, I have to run it by them. But he took my card, put it in his wallet, and that was all I heard from him. And I'm assuming that the DC powers that be, put the kibosh on that. Because, honestly, like, Spectacular Spoil League, I'm proud of where we are, and I'm proud of how many people we got, but it's not the big sites. It's not Entertainment Weekly. It's not Variety. It's not comicbook.com. So, DC execs ain't going to give us play like that. But I'm telling you, if I ever get a chance, and DeepBoyce knows, I will go up to somebody and I'll be like, yo, let's talk.
Let's do it.
I have no fear when it comes to that. None. So if you ever see Jeff Johns on this channel, you know. But I'm not going to harass the man on Twitter either. That's not the place.
True.
That's not the place.
True. I mean,
that's not the place to do it.
We do have on this channel an interview with Greg Pak, who wrote World War Hulk.
Yes.
And that was for Thor Ragnarok, they took some of that comic and put that into the movie. And the comic in and of itself is actually pretty good. World War Hulk, Planet Hulk, and World War Hulk, the sequel.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody who's been around for us, some of you guys probably don't know us, but we used to do gaming content for a podcast called Get Corns to Die Trying, and we did some interviews there. And some of those interviews are some of my favorite memories, just because we had such a blast talking with people. Because we're not out here like, I'm so happy to meet you, and we just out here like, yo, you people, we people, let's have fun with this. Let's have a good time, man. Like, that's something I can honestly say, like, I think I'm proud of in terms of our personalities. We just like, yo, there's no such thing as, yo, I'm too big to talk to you, or you're too big to talk to me. You know what I mean? If we ever get, thank you for saying that, Jason Todd. I appreciate that, man. You guys dropping likes, you guys hanging out here. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I would love more people too, but I appreciated you guys' show support. But you know, you guys showing support, showing love, you know, that's what's really gonna push us to the stratosphere. You know what I'm saying? You guys are the ones that are gonna help us out. And you know, we're gonna do this as much as we can. And like I said, there's gonna be times where, you know, where we gotta step back and take care of life. You know, that's the way things work. But you know, we appreciate you guys coming out to these live streams. I mean, you guys been sitting here talking to us for like 2+ hours, man. Like, that's dope. That's dope. And you know, a lot of the people that came here, you know, like, we met a lot of new people through doing this, and I appreciate that, man. I would love to have more people, but you know, I appreciate you guys just being chill, man.
Yeah. And you know, you guys don't feel guilty. Don't feel like, oh, we don't, you know, maybe not doing your part. Any little bit of support means the world. I mean, even just a comment. I mean, that means, it really does mean a lot. So we appreciate the push that you guys have given us from when we started up until now and going into the future. So
yeah, because let me tell you something. It's very easy to get discouraged on YouTube. It's very easy to get discouraged, but you know, you guys kept us in the game, man. You guys, yeah. Jason Todd talking about the Better Wet Behead video we did.
Yeah, we actually did like that one.
Yeah, we had a good time. That's the thing, when we record these things, we generally, sometimes we be cracking up, like dying. Like sometimes I'm like sweating, laughing. Like the live stream, we're keeping it relatively chill because, you know, like 2 hours just sitting here talking, like, you know, you waste energy. But when we do these videos, man, like, it's like 20-minute bursts. So we're just going all out for these 20-minute videos, and it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Damn, my man said it's 5:55 a.m. here in the UK. Time difference is a killer on the live stream. G-Bus Terry Baker. Damn, say what up to the Queen up in the UK. You know, say hello to Meghan Markle.
What?
My gosh, is that her name, Meghan Markle?
Yeah. Man,
she put a sparkle in my eye when I see her.
But Sheeta Brown, I mean, I wasn't reading Action Comics, but you know, eventually I guess I spoiled it for myself as to who Mr. Oz is. But I guess for people who want to read it, definitely check it out. So
yeah, I haven't had the chance to read it, but I sort of died just getting spoils on Mr. Oz. Yeah. Do you guys play Injustice 2? And if so, are you pumped for TNT?
Yeah, Injustice 2 is pretty dope. Unfortunately, there's this little game by the name of Dragon Ball Fighters that kind of came out, so I don't know if I'll have time to kind of get back into Injustice, but
yeah,
you never know. You never know.
Yeah. I'm gonna be playing some Dragon Ball Fighters, Monster Hunter after I get back this weekend from apartment hunting. You know, I'm gonna do that. I mean, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm just keeping it a buck for you guys, because why not? Yeah. So what I said, you know, it's a little tough for me right now at the moment because I just got a job with the Able Gamers Foundation. So you guys can look that up on Wikipedia if you like. Dope organization that you know, their goal is to achieve and to aid in accessibility for the game industry. So there's a lot of people out there with disabilities, as we all know, and a lot of them don't get to play games like we do. And you know, I've been lucky enough to have an opportunity with that organization. So moving out to West Virginia, I currently live in New York, but I'm moving out to West Virginia for it. So that's why, you know, it's taking a toll on some of the things I need to do. But I'm going on to West Virginia this weekend. But once I get settled, we'll get back to the grind with SSL stuff. And, you know, you'll definitely be seeing more of me in other arenas if you guys so choose. You choose to follow HazyRome on the journey. But,
indeed,
you know, we got plans for SSL, man. Make no mistake about it. Thank you for the congratulations, man. I appreciate it, man. I thank you guys so much, man. I mean, it's being here with you guys and doing this type of stuff that actually helped me get that job. You know, like, I wouldn't be going out to these events and meeting these people if I wasn't doing stuff like this, if I wasn't doing the gaming podcast. You know what I'm saying? So West Virginia, nice cold country. I don't know nothing about West Virginia, man. I just know it's not New York.
Yeah, it's a big change, but I mean,
yeah,
Hey, I mean, it's well deserved.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man. And I'm just you know, when you're trying to face the unknown, it's tough. But having things like you guys think about the channel, and you know, I've seen comments, and it always blows my mind. People are like, yo, you guys doing this YouTube channel, you know, like these videos make my day and stuff like that. That makes me feel like great, because for me, you know, when I do these videos, that helps me feel at home, because right now, like I said, it's sort of I'm happy for this opportunity, but it's sort of an uncertain time for me. And doing these videos, sitting here talking with you guys, that keeps me in my Zen place. That keeps me centered. So, you know, I'm definitely gonna be SSL. We're doing SSL. You know what I'm saying? Like that's sticking around. Spectacular Spoil League is not going anywhere, as far as I'm concerned. And I know that's the same from Boyce's end. So we're doing it up. And you know, sometimes change is gonna hit, and sometimes, you know, things are gonna change. Sometimes life strikes you, but you know, we're here. We're trying to do this because we like it. You know. He said, I like to think if you have an open mind, someone who will watch your back, you can go just about anywhere in the world. Yeah, man. You know, that's what I'm hoping right now, because I'm going to West Virginia, and I need y'all to, like, that's also another thing why I'm doing the YouTube videos, so that, like, there's a signal out there for where I am and where I'm located. So if you guys don't hear from me in like 2 weeks, like, you guys need to send an SSL search party into West Virginia to find me, because something is terribly wrong if you don't see me for like 2 weeks, y'all. This is like a flare. This is me, like, someone do a live stream of videos, like me setting up a flare, like, phew. Like, this is me. I'm alive. I'm safe. You know, if you see me on a live stream and I'm blinking like this, that's me telling you I'm in danger and I need you to save me in West Virginia. But you know, yeah, man, you guys are definitely, you know, you guys definitely understand what it means to be a community, and I respect that, man. I respect that, man. But I think it's time to wrap this thing up.
Yes, sir.
This stream was wild, man.
Yeah. But hey, I mean,
this stream was wild.
You know, new things, new horizons, new beginnings. I mean, you know,
yeah,
it is what it is, because we just let it flow, and we're having a good time. And you know,
that's what we're trying to be about.
You know, Terry Baker, get some sleep, unless you're having an early weekend. I mean, I'm not gonna encourage you to do something you're not supposed to do, but if you need to take Friday off, I guess do what you got to do, player.
Word. Word. I mean, I'm about to start driving at like 4 a.m., man. I'm about to start driving down to Virginia at 4 a.m. with my sister, man. So I feel you on the early morning stuff. I probably won't sleep tonight, but you know, for you guys, man, like, I don't know what we're gonna do for future live streams, because I do feel kind of bad for anybody who just wants to tune in for the weekly one-shot stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought about, and I'm just talking with you on live stream. You know, I don't want to put you in the spot, but you know, I'm putting it out there because now you guys are in the chat. Maybe you guys can give us some feedback on that front. I thought that maybe we could, when we do these live streams, we can do like the weekly one-shot, finish the weekly one-shot as, like, you know, a contained video, and then end it, and then just go back on live to do whatever we want to do,
like a podcast,
like a short, like a podcast or a short live show, just for like the people who are here in the chat.
I'm totally down with that. I mean, really, the only thing we have to figure out is YouTube streaming, so that when we cut it, it actually cuts it. Because I think we did that once, and it made it into one whole video. So we just have to kind of figure that out. I mean, maybe it's like, what, a 20-minute break or something. I don't know what it would take.
You're right.
But once we kind of test that out, figure it out, then that's really all that's.
I forgot about
keeping us from that.
But we did that correctly. That wasn't us. That was some YouTube shenaniganery, because you clearly ended the stream.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else you could have done except maybe close the browser, but you know.
And I closed OBS. I closed like everything.
Yeah. So how could it still even be drawn? Like, what it did was, you know, just explain what we're saying is, when he closed the software we used to do this live stream, the live stream should have ended, right? But what happened was YouTube, although it said it wasn't live, when we went back, when we like reset it and we went live again, it just took whatever we had done starting from the new live stream and hooked it on to the last live stream we did. So it was one video for some reason. It was so odd. I don't understand why that happened, but it was weird. But you know, if we ever did that, we might have to do something like maybe make a 5-minute gap between when we go back live again, just so it doesn't happen again. I don't know, maybe make it like two or 3 minutes before we go dark. But you know,
yeah, maybe pick another day. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I say now is just because the longer you're on, the more, you know, the more of a chance people get to congregate. Mm-hmm. Like Rebel on a pebble out here saying, you know, he's only been here 20 minutes, 10 minutes, mm-hmm. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so
or we could do
but maybe we can find another day, like you said.
We could do it, let's say, just random time, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 7 to 8. Right? Arrow starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we do the podcast.
That's a good point.
Before. We watch Arrow, then we come back and we do this.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, we come from a podcasting background, so we're always down to do that type of stuff, man. But, you know, I don't know. I'm down to talk if you guys are coming to listen, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm down to, because me and Boyce, we have these conversations whether we lie or not. Like, I'm kidding you. I'm not even joking. Like, the way we're talking right now, that's pretty much how we talk, with the exception of maybe a few less expletives here and there.
And the other thing is, I mean, we have a pretty extensive process that we go through, and we like just think through videos and stuff like that. There's a lot that gets left at the cutting room floor that could be picked up at a podcast if we have various things we're talking about, and if it's something that's like a 5-minute convo, but we still kind of want to talk about it, just throw that into a podcast or throw that into, you know, whatever kind of live stream we're doing.
Yeah. And people, and don't get me wrong, people have asked us whether or not we do a podcast. I know some people have asked if we do a podcast, but we've done podcasting before, and with our experience, like, it's podcasting isn't, it's a little bit hard to grow. Like, YouTube is more efficient because it essentially, as long as your your SEO is all right, you essentially can advertise yourself out here. So that's why we haven't done like anything on iTunes or anything like that. We got our hands full with this as it is, with, you know, everything else. But, you know, I'm down to do some podcasting type stuff as well, man. Like, you know, when the time comes, you know, I'm surely down to do some stuff like that, man. I'm surely down to talk. You know, you just watch every video that YouTube notifies you of when it's, hey, listen, man, notification squad in the house, man. That's what we need you guys to do. Hit that little bell icon next to the subscribe button and turn on them notifications, man. But yeah, we're definitely going to figure something out so we could do something that sort of appeals to the people who want to hang here and chat with us, because, you know, we like having these conversations with you guys, man. Straight up. But we're going to head on out. Man. Thank everybody for hanging out, man. I appreciate you guys so very much. Like, I really do. Thank you guys for being super kind. Thank you guys for being congratulatory. Thank you guys for asking as many questions as you've done. You know, do more live streams. We're definitely gonna be doing live streams for sure. More, like, sometimes there's beauty in not doing it too much, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, like, you know, once a week is all right by me. Yeah. But, you know, Hazy, Jessica Kennedy Parker, Jason Sotelo, man. Google's a hell of a drug, brother. That's all I'm gonna say. Cause I did a Google search and my eyes, I was awoken. I was enlightened. I seen some divinity. I seen some beauty. I seen some gloriousness. You know what I'm saying? But thank you guys for coming through. If you guys want to talk with us, AMJ, the mod of mods. By the way, special shout outs to AMJ every day, man. This guy holds us down on a consistent basis. He's the mod of mods. He's an extension of us. If you guys love us, love AMJ as well. If you see him in the comment section, you show AMJ some love, man. Say what up. Say, hey, AMJ. AMJ is that dude. He's putting a link to our Discord server. Discord is an application where you can use to talk with people. It's sort of like a text message mixed with a text message service mixed with a forum. It is completely and holistically free. You don't have to pay for it. we talk about comics in there. We also talk about games. There's a wrestling server. There's all types of servers that suit your interests. But the SSL comic server is where we talk about comic book multimedia. AMJ is putting out a link that is an invitation to set Discord. You can access it via your desktop. You can access it via a website window on your desktop. There's a desktop application that you can download. There's a mobile application you can download. You can do all of that stuff with Discord and chat with us. So feel free to join that. Subscribe to AMJ. AMJ, like I said, AMJ has been with like this squad for years now. So like much love to AMJ.
Always on time. I mean, he's more on time than we are. I mean, he's on top of things with the quickness. Sometimes I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize that we just put that out.
Yeah.
Ready with the links.
AMJ notifies us sometimes that we've done. So, shout out to AMJ, man. And thank you, Jason Todd, man. Thank you guys. Thank people like you guys for doing it up, man. We recognize all you guys' names. Like, we're not saying here like, oh, who's this random person talking to us? We see you guys, and we respect that you guys are out here holding us down. But that being said, guys, we're gonna head out of here. Feel free to join up with the Discord. And AMJ always posts a link to that Discord on our videos. So if you can't join now, feel free to join later. Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
It's actually a video that came out today.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about Captain Marvel and that blue suit she's got on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Dad, you said that in a way that made it seem like it was sexual. You were like,
that new Kree lingerie she's wearing. Nice cosmic lacing.
When he said that, he's like, there's a new video out of Captain Marvel with that new blue suit. The way you said it, I was like, damn, man. Listen, man, when you guys use Google, make sure you guys, if you're under the age of 18, don't be using Google the way I think you guys are using Google.
Google responsibly.
Google responsibly, people. When we review Black Panther, we definitely be talking about Black Panther.
Yes.
I don't know if we do reviews. We don't do reviews. We don't do that in a conventional sense. Yeah. But check out that Captain Marvel video for sure.
That's not out of the realm of possibility, but we got priorities in terms of the way we want to do things and what we want to do out there.
Yes.
But who knows in the future if it's viable.
Yeah, man.
If you guys want to see, you guys want to hear it, just holler.
We always say, man, people are here to check the stuff out. We're down to do it because, as adults, we can't just be, we have to see some type of like response to certain things we're doing, or else we have to move it towards things that people are actually going to want to see. So if there's people here trying to check it, we're down to do it. But yeah, man, thank you for commenting on the vid. Once again, likes count on these videos. Like the videos. If you ain't going to listen to the videos in full, at least let it play in the background. That helps. Yeah. All that helps. So see you guys on the next one, man. Have a good one. It's always good to see you guys. Peace out. After like 2.5 hours. Peace out.